I don't know if you got the same table set up or whatever. We just had 2 tables, and then we had the replayer on top of one of the tables and just used it when we needed to.
Yeah, that's I show like 2 live tables, and then I bring up the replayer whenever.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, you can just have it as like a different source and just click it. Like, super nice, actually. Worked out pretty well. All right, guys. Well, have fun. It was nice chatting to you, Owen.
See you around.
Yeah, man, definitely. I'll be up for doing this again sometime when we come back after the Christmas break. And yeah, all right, guys, have fun. I'll catch you later.
See you later, mate. Have a good night.
All right, guys. Cheers. Bye. All right, guys.
Did you end up playing, Owen, this afternoon?
I mean, I was playing earlier, but then Kaki was like, "We need emergency help on the stream," and I was like, "Okay." Yeah, I was like, yeah, I wasn't I wasn't feeling too sharp.
Okay, yeah.
I've really been feeling the exhaustion past couple of days. The level of play has definitely slipped a bit from me. Not like doing anything too bad, but yeah, not been great.
Yeah, that week break probably going to be pretty nice. Let's switch maybe to the bigger call, so that some of the guys will have the opportunity to join if they want to, and then I'll screen share there.
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay, I'll call there.
Yeah.
Welcome back. How has the VIP game been going?
It's been, yeah, it was pretty wild. Like, we missed a lot of the fireworks because we were only covering one table at the start, and then we just been bombarded by text, just like, no, you need to cover the other table. There's like so much going on, and it was like, yeah, Kevin just had an 80k stack by the time we tuned in. I mean, it just kept going up. He's at like what, 130 or something now?
I see 156k.
Oh, 156. Oh my god, there's no breaks, man. There's no breaks.
Did we miss some massive event? Like, what is this biggest stack? That's the biggest stack we've seen the whole challenge.
Yeah.
The 2 days break worked for him.
Yeah.
Just came back and he's just shipping left and right. That's sick.
Yeah, Kevin's such a menace. Well, I mean, some of them were just mega coolers, I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
Like, he had a straight against Riggs combo draw in a 4-bet pot deep. That was just really rough. Like, but yeah, dangerous guy to be up against when he has the nuts.
Yeah. So there's 2 VIP games, I see.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I'll put them side by side, I guess, since it's also higher stakes.
Hey, Brandon. How you doing?
Hello.
How's it going?
How's your guys? How's the stream going?
All right, go.
Have you watched any, Brendan?
What?
Have you watched any of the VIP game or the stream?
No, not really. I just woke up not too long ago, so.
What? Isn't it like really late?
We went to a Christmas party last night, so I'm kind of hungover.
Oh.
And it's only 11, like, it's not that late, but yeah.
Yeah. Oh wait, there's an all-in.
Yeah.
Oh,
3 all-ins.
Oh.
Ace Queen.
Oh,
Ace
8-7.
What?
8-7.
Oh, he's gonna ship. Oh, the river.
8-7.
Oh wait, he made the 2 pairs. Oh, I thought Ace King won.
Get it straight. Yeah.
Oh my god.
8-7.
8-7's like so far ahead there, right? Like,
what the hell just happened? So it's open from Sam under the gun.
Wait, whose seat is this? Is this for somebody?
What do you mean?
Why is there's just an open seat?
Oh, yeah, I don't know. Oh, it might be, did Berkey stand up?
No, he's on the other
he's
table.
not on this.
He's on the other table.
Yeah, he's not on this table. I don't know.
Okay, so this was Sam opens, rigged 3 bets, and then called 4 bet from the Yan. Sam calls, and then he comes back to rig deck, and he just ships. And then
Yeah, and Rick has
Yeah.
ace,
Rigged had an
queen.
ace queen. I think that seems okay-ish, and then Decky is fine, and then to be fair, SamJazzy is live.
When you see like when they both get it all in ahead of you though, like is 8-7 suited weirdly doing okay? Like
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
it's like the
aren't these
classic
kind of hands
yellow
doing like
stuff, right?
they're doing not terrible versus like
Yeah.
like even if one of them has an overpair and then the other one has like
Rigged is just
Too hot.
super fun. Like
yeah,
Rigged is
just throwing
such
dead here.
Rigged is in horrendous shape.
that was best case scenario for the 8-7.
Yeah. I mean, like this is nice spot to be in. Yeah, I remember because I didn't play much PLO. I remember there was a spot where I think it's like it's probably one of the biggest pots I've ever played, but it was just like someone like there's an open and then I free bet. Someone cold calls my free bet, and then the opener like 4 bets, I 5 bet, and this guy behind like says like, you idiots both have aces, I'm gonna scoop you. And we did both have aces.
Oh my god.
And he scooped us.
So sick.
Oh wow, another man, every pot is huge in these things. What was I gonna say? Oh, I saw I think Joe Adams is the one who left. I went back a little and saw.
Oh, I mean, I think technically that's my seat, actually. Like, I'm next on the list.
What's
If you want to go play, go ahead, by the way. Don't feel like you have to stay or something.
Yeah, I can't turn down this seat.
Yeah.
I'm going to play for a bit. You guys have fun.
Thanks for being on. Good luck.
And no worries. See us.
See.
So what happened, Brandon? We did a little bit of drinking. I thought we were embracing the super fit life.
Oh, and then I broke it, I guess.
You have to sometimes. Actually, you're supposed to do like cheat meals and stuff, and kind of like do whatever you want.
Every once in a while.
But during the holidays, I'm guessing a lot of people are going to take that very far as well. Do you have I don't know how to say it, but like rules on like how good you need to feel in order to play, or you just do it like feeling based? If you're like a little tired, would you ever play?
I mean, it sort of depends on like the game quality and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like I think if I was kind of hungover and I got a seat in like this game or something, then like yeah, probably, as long as I'm not like crazy dead or something. But in any of like the all reg lineups, no. Even if I thought I was doing okay, like in the lineup when I'm playing well, I think if you're like hungover or tired or something, that's just gonna make it hard to do like too well.
Yeah.
And I've had this thing where like even if it's not the case that like it even affects you that much, let's say, when a session goes badly, when you do play, when you're like tired or something or whatever, like I get really frustrated with myself, if that makes sense. I don't know if you've ever had something like that.
Yeah, every day.
Where you're like, why did I even bother playing? I was clearly not playing well, sort of thing.
It's slight irritation, or you have some soft tilt where you start making more mistakes?
Well, I'm saying like it's probably like it's more results oriented, but like after the fact. But I just know that it happens. So
okay,
like let's say I'm not supposed to, like I wasn't supposed to play or something, because like let's say today, for example, I'm like hungover or something, and I'm not gonna play. And then let's say for some reason I decide to go play, and maybe like it's not even that bad of a decision or whatever. But when it doesn't, like if it doesn't go well, let's say I lose or something, afterwards I would be like, what the fuck? Why did I play? You know, I wasn't even, you know.
And then it's hard to know if, or would you say it's hard to know if you were like that much far off from your A game? Or is it just like the result is just too easy to be result oriented in this case?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like I'm not an expert at this stuff or anything. I would say I think it makes a big difference, but I don't know, like it's hard to quantify how big of a difference it makes.
Yeah.
So I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah, I like when I listen to podcasts and these guys are like, oh yeah, I rate my play at the end of every session to make sure like I know when I'm playing well and when I'm not. And I'm like, yeah, if I did that and I give myself enough D-, I might just like, stop playing or something. So
yeah. I actually do that as well, but it's hard. It is hard to not just be kind of results oriented. Like if you just had a good winning session, sometimes you just think you played well. If you have like a big losing session, sometimes you just think you didn't play well. But I do think it's probably a good habit to at least try to be objective and try to rate how you played, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Even if not like an actual rating, just like think about it or whatever after the fact.
Okay, we see Kevin in a hand with Munez. Looks like 4-bet. Actually, I don't know this. I'm not yet used of this blind, so I'm not even sure exactly what happened pre-flop. But yeah, it's small blind against button, so let's assume for a 3-bet, sorry. And then there was a bet on the flop.
Looks like we might have 1 or 2 people joining.
Okay.
Oh, Barack must be... Is he leaving Bahamas? Did he leave Bahamas already?
I would have assumed he'd already have left, but I don't know.
I don't know. He said he's at the airport, whatever that means.
He's jet setting around the world while 6 tabling on Coin Poker, the World Championship.
Yeah, he's probably playing on his phone.
You ever read that story of, I think it's Tom Dwan was on a flight and his laptop, like he forgot his battery or something. His laptop was running out. So he borrowed somebody else's battery to play on the flight. And he won a bunch of money, and then he decided to give the guy that lent him his battery. I don't remember exactly, but like let's say
a little.
Let's randomly guess like 3%. So he gave an envelope to the guy with like thousands in it or something. It's like there's so many sick old stories like this.
Yeah, that's pretty sick. I haven't heard that story though. No.
Oh, like the Feel Lively story.
Yeah, like I personally, for me, I could. First of all, I wasn't around at that time, so I don't know how things were or anything. But like, I could never, I don't think, do something like that. I wouldn't even play probably on my own laptop in the first place in whatever you said, like on a flight or something, or at the airport or whatever. And then if somehow I ever got in that situation where I had to like borrow somebody's thing or something, like it would just be like too much chaos or whatever. And basically I already know myself, like if things didn't go well in that session where I'm just like using somebody else's laptop or whatever, like I would be so tilted with myself after, like, what the fuck is wrong? Like, just take a break, buddy.
Did you ever hear the Feel Lively story of like when he was at a restaurant and then some businessman sent a champagne bottle to him with like their compliments or whatever, and then he sent some back, then they sent some more back, and then basically the waiters, they started bringing bottle after bottle to the table of those businessmen, and there was they handed them a note that said it won't stop. ...
That's funny. Yeah, no, I mean I haven't heard that either, but that's cool.
Oh, Uri's gonna join us. So Matt Berkey,
cool.
He has starting stack, so it seems like maybe he might not be up. I saw earlier he had like 30k, so I think he went up a bit, then maybe he lost some pot. And we see Owen now in the game. Yeah, the fact that Kevin's doing well here, this doesn't count towards the World Championship. So this is pretty good news for Owen, because if Kevin had a 160k stack in the challenge, that would be quite something.
Let's. Sorry, what did you say?
No, go ahead.
No, I was just typing something.
Yeah, so
You said something about Kevin. Oh, Kevin and Owen, the dynamic or something.
Yeah, no, Kevin, like he's up a lot, but this doesn't count towards the World Championship.
Oh, right.
Otherwise, that would be crazy.
Yeah.
Like, imagine he gets like 130k or something. He's for sure first now.
Yeah, I guess it would be kind of unfair to. It would be kind of unfair, or like against the spirit of what the challenge is supposed to be, to have like the VIP games on the Sunday count towards the thing. Especially because they're like double the stakes, and it's like invite only, and it's a lot of times it's like people giving up their seat, and so like Owen just went on, but he's like 5th up on the list because a bunch of people gave up their seat. Whereas maybe if it counted towards the challenge results, those people wouldn't have given up the seat. I don't know.
Yeah, Linus was actually supposed to play initially, and dropped out last minute.
Yeah, there's I saw in the group thing, there's like I don't know what the exact order was, but there was like a list of people. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know the exact list, but I saw Kaki posted something, and yeah, there's like an order of people who are supposed to play or something like that.
Yeah.
Actually, Brock is on there, so if he joins the call, he should have gotten that seat on his phone.
That would be funny if he just like starts playing from the airport. Just like he's like, all right, just go without me. Like, just doesn't take the flight.
Yeah, I don't know Barack well or anything, but he strikes me as the kind of guy that would take the seat from his phone or whatever.
Probably, I would guess he'd play on his laptop. I think phone gaming is reserved for The Rock.
Okay, fair. See, I think that's what you have to ask him, though. Like, so like Llama for sure would take the phone game.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, I'm just going based on vibes, but I think Barack.
Not everybody can have the app, right?
Oh, I have no idea how it works or
Yeah, so
anything.
like,
I don't have it on my phone, but
yeah, nowadays I think
just saying, if it were possible.
You cannot install anymore. Like, maybe if you had it before, you can still have it. Or maybe it's like, maybe for iPhone you cannot. But yeah, personally, I would have loved like to play on my phone, but yeah, for now I think it's unavailable. I really hope they add it eventually. That would be sick.
Yeah, no, I have no idea how that works or anything, but
what's happening here? What is that?
Yeah, what is this?
Windows opened, rigged calls, and then we had the 3
Oh
bets.
wow, that's a big pot. Jesus.
Ace King 4.
I guess with this Sam Jazzy guy there, like the pots are just gonna balloon.
He's here to play, that's for sure.
Uh-huh.
On the other table, rigged and Berkey. See a flop at 10-5-5. Bet and a call. Who's commenting next to you? And this is Oh Hi Mark, one of the players playing in the World Championship.
Barely.
Give yourself some credit. You're in there battling.
I don't know.
But that's with a very small bets. A 1/7 of the pot.
Oh wow. Both guys call.
Alright, who's got the 5 deuce?
I think if anyone has it, it's gonna be Sam.
Hey, Huri, what's going on, my man?
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah. How are you doing?
Oh, sick. I'm all right. I have a bit of a sore throat, so won't be talking as much as usual. But yeah, happy to be back.
Yeah, it's good to have you. We got a 30k pot here going on between 3 players: Sam, Jazzy, Munez, and Kevin.
What was the action up to now?
I think there was a 4-bet. I'm not sure exactly because I kind of hard to follow, but yeah, there was a 4-bet, and then Munez bets 7th pot on the flop, and both called.
Oh, and is Sammy donk betting the turn?
No, I can say the action. So Munez opened under the gun 7-handed, rigged flatted under the gun 1 or whatever. Kevin squeezed, I believe. Sam Jazzy cold called, Munez 4-bet, and then both of them called. But I guess now you can just watch it.
No, Kevin squeezed, right? Oh,
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah.
And then Sam cold called and Munez 4-bet, and then they both called.
See.
Oh, this isn't a show table. Wait, is it?
No, these tables are
it must
automatically
be.
show the VIP
I
games.
think
Oh,
yeah.
sorry, I wasn't paying attention. So Kevin, I guess, did show. You have the 5 deuce?
No, you had ace king.
No 5 deuce.
Yeah, just the boring nuts. I guess what do you guys think Munez had to 4-bet and then check fold like a king queen?
Queens?
Pocket jacks.
On multi-way, you wouldn't continue with queens because he continued very small, right? He's supposed to continue a lot.
It's a
on the
weird
separate board.
spot. Like maybe he just still range bets the flop, even, but it seems weird to range bet with the guy who's got. But maybe you just knock Kevin out of the pot, even like if you have jacks, and then you just play versus Sam and you figure it out, sort of thing. Even if it's kind of an inefficient
I would.
bet.
I think that's kind of what I do because you get the chance to bet so tiny.
Yeah.
And like, how bad can it be to bet 3K into 21? It's certainly printing. And
Yeah, and like Sam presumably still has like. I think he has like 5-4 suited and stuff or whatever. So like you're
interesting. Okay, I just sat down.
pocket.
So I'm not aware of Sam's play yet.
Let me get
He's
you up
got-
to speed if I can find the hands.
Yeah, maybe you can show him like the 8-7 hand, even though I don't even think that one was that bad or anything.
So
I actually think this is like half reasonable, but it's still
We're
funny.
not looking for bad hands. We're looking for fun hands.
yeah, but like
Oh,
this
yeah.
this will paint the picture of like how Sam plays.
Yeah.
So he opens under the gun, rigged 3 bets. We get a cold 4 from the Jan. Sam calls, rigged, rips it. The Jan calls and Sam overcalls. And he has 7-8 suited.
Oh, that's interesting.
So knowing that, yeah, now you probably look at the other hand that we just saw maybe a bit differently, I guess.
What do you think though? Owen and I said we didn't think it was actually that bad. Like 8-7 is doing not terribly there, probably.
Yeah, but not everybody would play like this, right?
Oh wait, I mean, yeah, definitely no. But
I mean, did he call off or how much did he? What way did he put the money in?
So he's the
called
opener.
called it off.
Yeah,
He's the opener, then he gets called 4 bets,
yeah.
and he calls the call 4 bets. And
So I don't judge it as a good or a bad play. I just try to see like people play poker for different reasons, and this is like it's a gambly play, right? Like he's
Yeah.
clearly there to gamble. And then you have to wonder about the last hand. Given this hand, Kevin's sitting there with ace king off. Why didn't he 5-bet over Munez's 4-bet?
maybe
Or
he's
did he
okay.
consider it?
He's okay playing in position, multi-way.
Yeah, but presumably Sammy's stacking off really wide for,
Yeah.
I don't know. Interesting because these dynamics where one of the players is, gambling non-GTO ranges, it switches everything up in terms of the options that you have, like rigged should never stick it in with ace queen off, but he's kind of saying, well, there's so much money here because of the gamble factor, so he thinks deck is very wide, and so everything changes, and it's really interesting to see the approach each one of these guys takes in terms of how far they push it, where Kevin with ace king wasn't pushing it at all, it looked like, whereas Rigged is pushing it fairly hardcore with the ace queen off there.
Yeah, Brendan, do you think that's Rigged did this because he thinks there is some cold 4-bet that will fold to a jam?
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, he has to think that the guy's folding something, because otherwise you wouldn't do this. I don't think.
It's this cool leveling war, because like the range that you shove versus a cold 4-bet, ace king off should fall there sometimes. The range is so strong when you're shoving over a cold 4-bet in these positions.
Yeah.
So it really becomes a leveling thing of realizing how far the other guy's pushing it for each player. And I would guess, looking at this table, I'd guess, I don't know, Chris. I'd guess Kevin and Munez and Berkey are not pushing it almost at all. Rigged's probably going bananas, and I don't know, Chris. Do you guys know Chris?
He's rich now. I know that. I actually do know Chris. I've told him this a few times on stream. I ironically sat next to him at the main event last year, so like a year and a half ago or whatever, on like day 2 on just some random table. We sat next to each other and like found out who each other were, and then became kind of friendly, and have, you know, I would say like kept in contact since, or whatever.
So is he like the GTO guy or the take it to the streets guy?
No, not a GT, like in between, but more on the take it to the streets side. He's like he's like a 3-bet to 8 big blinds out of position kind of guy, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got some moves. Sure.
Yeah, so what does that mean exactly?
What do you mean,
Brandon, or should I answer?
What was the? What does what mean?
You say 3-bet 8 big blinds out of position, so.
Oh, I just like 8 big blinds out of position is not like the GTO size. But there's definitely reasons, I guess, to do it, right? But I'm just saying he's not the guy who's just playing like a solver all over the place. It's just like, does that make sense?
Yep.
We see a 10% bet here. That's in the actual World Championship. Kevin and
I think
Owen.
Experience, by the way, playing in this thing a bit, or just playing with these guys in general. I don't think there are too many guys that are just that are play like solver guys, for whatever that's worth.
Well, deck is one, right?
I think so, but I think even I think yes, but I think even Decky's got some moves.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's got moves, right? Like these guys are really good. Oh, looks like Owen and Kevin played a big pot on a different table. But yeah, everybody's got moves, and Decky is definitely probably like as close to just like playing like a solver kind of guy as you would get, maybe. But even he's doing some stuff.
So Kevin opens blind on blinds against Owen. He bets. Oh, he check calls half pots.
Yeah.
Then turn, he check calls again. Then we check. No, he bets 10%.
Mm-hmm.
And then Owen re-raises big.
Yeah. So the 10% bet is meant to. You do that on board changing rivers. And you're supposed to do it with like your weakest draws, and then some stuff where your opponent has to, like, this is a river where your opponent presumably will maybe check back a bunch of hands like, I don't know, aces, kings, that he was planning on value betting, so you get a little bit extra against those. Like there's some
way,
reasons to do it. Yeah.
I think Owen called in an open blind versus blind. So so I don't think Owen had. Sorry, I don't think Owen has aces.
Yeah,
Or
Owen doesn't have aces and queens. So does this donk bet make sense in your eyes then? Is this like
the other thing I was kind of thinking is like, there's no draws on the turn, right?
Yeah,
I mean, there's
this
ace
feels
four and
like,
ace
this feels
five.
like misapplied, right? This feels a bit misapplied because Owen is
Yeah,
super
I'm not
duper
sure.
polarized, and the fact that the queen pair doesn't change anything in terms of his value range. I guess it like his like deuce 3, 3-6, deuce 6 suited get counterfeited. So you could
Mhm.
say bet tiny against those. Maybe.
Yeah, I think it's Kevin's really sharp, so I don't know, but I kind of agree. And also like if you have so what would it be? If you have ace 4 or ace 5, which I guess could take this line, right? But those just have showdown value. So then do they even want to do this?
Yeah, that's fair. Tough to find a bluff here.
So what does it achieve exactly? The 10%?
Well, it's like imagine Owen's always going to check back all his counterfeited 2-pair, right? And you don't want him to get to do that for free. So you just lead for 10% with some trips and some ace highs. And then his counterfeited 2-pairs suddenly lose EV. And that's basically the idea. Like the board changing river creates this situation where there's a slice of hands he's gonna check back. And then you sometimes kind of go after those. But it's a surprising play to see because these plays they're not very important and not very many players make them. So it kind of goes to show you how much Kevin studies, I guess I would say, that he reaches these plays. It's very, very rare to see someone. I mean, you might know about them, but do you actually implement them in practice?
And then once he gets raised here, is trips just a hand that kind of has to bluff catch?
Yeah, then he's randomizing or soul reading, like his preference.
And like the bluffs from Prodigy, I guess, will be like if he had a pair plus like he had some sort of straight draw.
Well,
is it just those hands?
I wouldn't say a pair plus a straight draw, but I'd go with a straight draw though.
Okay.
I think with a pair he should call the 10% lead mostly.
Oh, okay. Makes sense.
I'm curious. I'm cheating and looking at a sim because I'm not.
No cheating.
All right, fine.
It's
I
studying.
already gave my. I gave my thoughts already, so I don't know.
Okay. You can.
I didn't think it made sense. So then I'm kind of thinking on the river, like if you're gonna do something, maybe you should even lead bigger, because if you're just, maybe you're trying to make like you were just saying, if he bets 10% pot, Owen probably just flicks it in with any pair that he has, right? Like even if it's a counterfeit thing or something.
Yeah, but then he loses extra money because he was going to check back, right?
No, I know, but what I'm saying is like, and if your bluffs are ace high,
ace 4,
ace 4, and ace 3, what are you making indifferent in Owen's range?
Oh, I think okay. So you can check, but I would guess you bluff ace 4 and ace 5, maybe only ace 4.
And then you make ace 5 indifferent. Wait, does that chop? I don't even know.
And you make Owen's pairs indifferent.
Ah, right.
Or maybe Owen has an ace 8 or some weird Oh, looks like they have a big pot again, right? Owen and Kevin.
Yeah. King Jack 10. I see a fold, and that's not a show table. No.
Oh.
It's nice to see Chris win back, by the way. Like, after most people that hit the same type of score that he did, maybe some people will rest. But I guess the truly hardcore guys, they just can't wait to get back to it.
No, because, well, to do well in a tournament, you have to run really good.
Yeah.
So you have this positive feeling of everything you do works. So it's really motivating to play more.
Do you think that after winning 2.1 mil, I mean, obviously we don't know how much of himself he had. Is there any chance it might be, like this might feel like almost like a small game? Is this like thoughts that would even enter the mind of a player, or not at all?
I mean, it takes the edge off, right? It's not like the game is meaningless, but you can kind of play it if you were under any money pressure before, which you shouldn't be if you're playing these lineups.
Yeah.
I'd guess it disappears and you're just kind of playing poker at that point.
Okay, there was a hands.
I was saying to like, I don't know. I should ask Chris, or I don't know if he would want to say or not. But because it was only a 25K, but like it's not like it wasn't like one of those crazy things where the buy-in's like 500,000. I mean, there's a pretty good chance he just had all of himself or almost all of himself.
I think it's very uncommon. Like, I think players usually at least swap a little bit. Maybe they sell some. Obviously,
But
I have no idea how rich he is, or like what's his bankroll.
I think for a
I'll be back in
25K,
2 minutes.
Yeah.
Be right back.
I think for a 25K, there's a decent chance he had close to all of himself, if not all of himself. Like maybe like a friendly swap or something like that. But
that would be a good time to just have like swapped just a couple percentages, and then not not do a big sale.
yeah.
Like imagine he sold like 50%, then that suddenly it's like a different score, but still very good, obviously.
Anyway, oh,
Did you see that hand with Sam?
no, I did not.
So Chris opens under the gun. Sam min clicks in hijack, and then Chris 4-bets. Sam chips it, and Chris folds.
Hang on, give me 1 sec. I'll be one.
Okay. Brandon saw the aces min clicking pre-flop. He was like, "All right, that's it." Okay, looks like we got open from Sam, call, and squeeze from Kevin. King Jack suited, beautiful hands. On the other table, wait, Berkey opened 2.5x with 6-4 suited under the gun and got folds through. And now he's in the big blinds. Defense, so 3-way to the flop. Sam flatting in a small blind.
Hey, sorry. Someone was calling me. Oh, well, you can show the hand again. Okay.
Let me see. It might be hard to find again, but yeah. Oh yeah, there it is.
Oh, there you go. Okay. So what happened?
So
Sam got aces.
yeah, Chris opens under the gun, then Sam min raises, like 2x the raise.
Okay.
Then Chris 4-bets,
Wow.
and then Sam ships.
Wow. Okay.
This was how effective? How much effective? Yeah, like a bit more than 100 bigs.
Uh-huh.
110. A bit.
What was a hand?
So Chris Twin opens another gun. Sam min raises.
Ah, awesome. Okay.
And then Chris 4 bets. And Sam ships.
Ah, fold. Is it a show table?
The
In-
VIP games are show by default. So it doesn't say show at the top, but they're show, yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Cool hand. Very cool hand.
What do you think here about calling with aces? What would be the downside of calling against shipping?
Well, how deep are they?
Near 100.
Well, it kind of depends because Sam's been so crazy. He might assume he just always gets action due to the 7-8 hand. Like, who would ever 4-bet bluff the guy who sticks in 7-8, right? And
Yeah.
if he thinks that, he's like, okay, like free money, put it in with aces. Whereas if he has reason to think Chris is 4-bet folding, which he did, then slow playing starts getting a lot more merit because, again, presumably the way he played the 7-8 was he actually called. He didn't chip it so that Chris could put him on a fairly wide range, and then it's not hard to get tons of money in. Yeah, I mean, it's easy once you know the result. I can't blame him for shoving.
Yeah.
But there's so much history that goes into these plays. Like, how did he play the 7-8 and how did he play every other hand pre-flop? Because if he's constantly been flatting the 7-8s and he never shipped before, then this feels very, very different than if he's shown some bluffs here.
Okay. Makes perfect sense as always.
Mm.
Yeah, we see a lot of flats actually from him here again. King Queen Munez finding a spot for the squeeze here.
Easy.
Yeah, easy squeeze. Easy squeeze. I want to see like a king 10 off to be impressed.
You feel like King Queen is too easy a squeeze here in this spot?
Yeah, I mean, it all depends how wide Sam is playing. But if he's playing extremely wide, it's kind of like a late position spot or a heads up spot. So King Queen kind of jumps into the premium range.
Yeah.
And presumably that's like close enough to the situation, let's say. So it's not a tough one to find. The adventurous ones would be like if you saw Queen Jack off there, then Muniz is getting in there, right? King Queen off, Ace Jack off, Ace 10 suited. That's like going one pip wider than theory. So it's not very interesting to see. I think that's very, very ABC.
By the way, I just started walking. Is it like loud? Can you guys hear anything or
No.
is it okay?
I can't hear anything.
You're all over the place.
No, I'm on I have a treadmill desk that never gets used.
Oh, okay. I
so-
thought like you went
So
outside.
I decided no, I decided to actually use it for once because might as well get some steps in while we're talking. But it sounds really loud.
No, we don't hear it. Nice microphone. And nice to see Owen in the mix here. Although we had to lose him on the commentary.
We should have done both, man.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand.
He
Like, I can't imagine playing for these. Already playing for these amounts is insane, but then playing for these amounts and being on the call, like only the biggest sickos like Barak and Lama can do this.
Yeah. And then they're both down in heaps, so maybe there's a correlation.
Oh, was Owen in the commentary and he chickened out because he had to play at the same time?
Yeah,
Somebody left the VIP table, and I think he said he was next on the list, although no one really seemed to check. So he took the seat and
I
then
said
left.
before he doesn't want to play while being on a call. Like it's just, and he was just talking earlier in the first part of the broadcast with Bobby James about how he thinks 4 tables is his cap. Like he doesn't play well. He said he was leaking EV when he plays more than 4 tables.
Yeah, I could see that because Owen plays, let's say, a fairly complicated strategy. He's not one to simplify too much. Like some of these guys will be like, close your eyes, bet small on a bunch of boards, but Owen's, making stuff complicated for both guys all the time, so he has to be very, very focused.
Yeah.
Someone's asking what's Berkey doing against these guys. Is Berkey sitting? It's just a bit small for me to see the names.
Yeah, here in that table, that's him right there.
Yeah.
And Berkey.
So
yeah, he's playing.
I mean,
he was invited to play and he accepted.
yeah.
I think I heard Llama's friends with him, I think, and he invited him to play. So that's how he's in here.
Why did no one invite me to play?
You need to
It
do some
wouldn't be the
networking.
VIP game, I guess.
What did he say?
I say you need to
You're
do some
not-
networking.
Yeah,
Oh, there you go.
I guess so.
Bring in Yuri as a VIP.
I am kind of a VIP at this point. Very washed up.
Maybe.
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe next week.
We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, these guys are making stuff interesting for sure. I'm just looking at all the small pots and like you can see how complicated or simple of a strategy guys are playing. And it looks like they're going like full game tree. Like people are limping BVB, they're cold calling.
Yeah.
10% river donks. Like these guys have done their GTO drills.
It was Lama, I think 2 days ago, who was talking about how much he's been studying. He was even saying that when he goes to the toilet, he's on his phone on GTO Wizards. Most people would be on Instagram or TikTok. No, not Lama. He's on GTO Wizards, just improving.
I mean, you know the ancient Linus story, right? Linus was at some house party with a bunch of friends and girls, and then he had some idea about solvers, and he locked himself up in his room for like 20 hours just clicking on the solver because he's like, I have to check this. So that's how you have to OCD a bit to reach the top level, I think.
It's about priorities, yeah.
I think they have to really love it. Like they just enjoy it a lot. I don't know if prioritizing it is enough. Like you have to be very, very curious about everything you see.
Yeah. It's
Because
obsession, right?
Lama's not, clicking his phone GTO trainer because he's like, oh, I need to improve more. Like he's a fairly laid back guy. I'm sure like he's like top something very high in the world right now. He's not in a race to impress anyone. He just enjoys it. Like it's his phone app computer game.
Do you think this type of obsession and dedication has to be natural, or somebody could, trick their mind into like, not forcing themselves to do it, but kind of like pushing it towards it even though maybe they might not necessarily enjoy it. Much like, for example, you have boxers or sportsmen, they have to do cardio.
Yeah.
To do what they're good at, and like fighters. And a lot of them in interviews, they say, I absolutely hate cardio and running, but I have to do it.
Yeah.
So do you think in poker there could be similarities, like sometimes, you know, with the studying or with the dedication required to really improve?
For sure. Some guys make it to the top and they don't study. Some guys in this tournament are not big studiers at all. They would benefit a lot if they studied, and at times when they force themselves to study, they improve. Yeah, not everyone's like Linus and Lama in this regard.
Yeah.
So, and like I said, the interesting thing about poker is it's such a multi-dimensional game. You can actually win at poker without studying that much. Like there are, imagine live poker where you have live tells.
Yeah.
Right? Like you can, there's enough room where if you're not blundering, sometimes being a feel guy or an exploitative guy, it is good enough to hang with these guys.
But online, that would be much harder.
It's just different. But I don't know. That like there's less to go off of, but there's still quite a lot because these guys are playing such complicated strats. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to watch. Let's see. Let's see if
I think it also depends.
like
think to
Rigged is
piggyback-
non-GTO, right? Rigged is doing really well non-GTO from what I remember.
I think to piggyback on that too, like it depends a little on like the games that you're playing in, right? Like this challenge, it's kind of probably harder, and maybe it's still not even impossible, but definitely harder. But I mean, if you just play online, but you just, you know, playing good games and stuff, you can still do really, really well. Even like
Yeah. There was a guy. Yeah, basically, there are multiple skill sets that let you do well. And the theory skill set lets you do well against very tough regs. So definitely in these lineups, it's like you kind of, I guess, need the theory for Linus. I don't know. It's getting to.
I spoke to Rig in a call the other day for the first time. First of all, he was a really cool guy, like really nice and stuff. Also, not sure another guy who's like playing in a call, which is sick. Like I don't know how people do that, but I think I wouldn't say necessarily if he's like a GTO guy or not or whatever, but I definitely think he knew some stuff. Like he definitely seemed pretty smart or sharp or whatever with what he was saying. And then yeah, I think I don't know. I wouldn't say if he's like a GTO or not GTO guy, but I definitely think he knows some stuff for sure.
Yeah. No, don't get me wrong. Like everyone here knows a shit ton of stuff. It's just like, do you need to super duper OCD, or can you put your 500 hours and you're good after, right? Like everyone here knows their shit for sure.
Makes sense. Yeah, it's an interesting thing too to think about because, like, you know, you have diminishing returns on that kind of stuff, right? Like, you know, you spend your first however many 100 hours studying, you learn a ton, and then every hour that you spend after is like not for that much EV, and then your EV of playing, if you're playing these really high stakes, is worth a lot. So maybe you just not that worth it to study instead. Like, I don't know. It's an interesting thing to think about.
Yeah. I mean, definitely is. And it's interesting the size of the edges that people can have at these stakes. Like I think this tournament doesn't necessarily show that, but the top guys are kind of wiping the floor with the other guys a lot of the time. What's this hand? This is a cool hand. King Jack versus Queen 10.
So open from Chris. A 3-bet in a small blind by Sam. Call Queen 8-3 Rainbow. And
Half
Sam
pot
bets.
calls. Yeah.
Half pots call. And he bets pots.
Yeah, turns a gut shot.
Oh,
Right.
nice.
That's a nice river bet.
It just like a king is unexpected, you think, and like the flush draw missed, or why is it a nice river bet?
Well, the King Jack hand strength is not extremely high, given the board texture, right? Because he loses to quite a lot of hands. So I think a lot of guys would kind of freeze up and be like, "Oh, I hit the king check." And again, we don't know the context of why he's doing this, but yeah, that there's so many levels to these. Like Chris calling, Chris is gonna have, you know, sometimes he has you beat, but sometimes he has 10-9, 10-8, Queen 10, Queen Jack, Ace Queen, pocket tens, pocket jacks, all these hands, and the king is like a scare card, right? And you have your Ace 10, Ace Jack that you're bluffing with, presumably. So the way these spots play in a VIP game is Chris is going to do combo counting. He's going to be like, well, you know, he could be bluffing with Ace 10 and Ace Jack and 6-7 suited and, you know, Ace 5 of diamonds. Like he kind of starts counting the draws by hand. And then generally speaking, a lot of the time he's going to either call all his catchers or fold all his catchers. And yeah, given the result, looks like Sam kind of correctly deduced the situation and went for a very thin value bet. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course. Is Sam Jazzy is considered more a VIP, right, than a GTO or a pro player?
I don't know him, but at least at these stakes, he's not trying to play GTO, evidently by the 7-8.
So with that taken in consideration, does on the river here, if you're Chris, the range of hands that you have to think about, how is it like really different than if he was against, like, let's say, like against Kevin or Munez? Like, how is he thinking about the river range here? Because you mentioned 6-7 suited. Like, is this still a hand that you would attribute to Sam, or do you just think he might not even have this one, but then be wider with some other hands that you wouldn't expect?
So there's more chaos, right? The less GTO or like GTO players, you kind of know their pre-flop chart.
Yeah.
So you would know, for example, that a GTO player doesn't have Ace 10 off here. And if these guys are deep, he likely doesn't have Ace Jack off here. And then you might start asking yourself, well, you know, it gets kind of tough to bluff for a GTO player here. And a lot of the turn bluffs are going to be hands like Ace, King, King 10, and King Jack for the out of position player. So against a more GTO guy, this is a very bad run out, very tough run out, a bluff catch on. And you still can, because the GTO guy probably won't bet King 10, King Jack, Ace King this big. So he polarizes his range a bit. But when you're against non-GTO, it's like, who even knows his pre-flop range, right? Like, does he have Jack 5 of diamonds? Maybe, who knows? So everything's a lot more fuzzy. It's like a different type of skill set to think that way.
Yeah.
Looks like someone said show the table. I'm not watching the stream. Are you not showing the table?
I was showing the replay because we're breaking down the hand.
Oh, yeah.
And then if I would show the table, there would be a guy in the chat that says, show the replay.
Yeah,
show
don't
the hand
listen.
that you're
Don't
talking
listen to
about.
him. Sorry, I have no idea what you were showing.
Just
Don't
can't
listen to
win, you
him.
know?
Yeah, of course. There was a funny I don't know if I mean whatever. There's been a lot worse stuff said on this, but there was a funny. You guys know who Matthew Janda is?
Mm-hmm.
So he made like I think Weston was talking to you about it a bit yesterday on the stream. But he wrote some poker books. Anyway, whatever. He made like an upswing module like however many years ago or something like that. And he talked about something I guess he called it like retard equity when you were playing versus let's say VIPs or something. And he said you have to just sometimes attribute like whatever percent of the time they're just doing something completely crazy basically, and like there's no so like you mostly give them like whatever range you think they have, but then you give them 5% of the time the guy his favorite hand is 5 deuce suited, or he wants to show you the 7-2 off or something, and whatever, so he's just taking it to the streets and blah blah blah. So like you said, all like reasonable combos, and then you add in a few just random whatever stuff. And then it also works like, let's say Chris had a hand like 10-9 here, right? Or something like that. I think you have to be also kind of careful. I think there's a big difference between having Queen 10 and 10-9 in this spot, basically, versus a player like Sam. Whereas maybe in theory there wouldn't really be a difference other than like the blockers or something like that. But there's a chance the guy just bet the flop with ace-9 or pocket 10s or something, and then let's say he has pocket 10s and then he turns a straight draw and then he bets it, and then the river's a king and that's a scare card, and then he just shoves and like didn't know, like stuff like that just happens. And it doesn't happen very often, but it happens a couple percent of the time. And then like having Queen 10 is good because it beats a hand like that, and having 10-9 is bad because it loses to a hand like that, right? And I think that's something that you always kind of want to keep in mind when you're playing versus random players, let's say.
Yeah, I mean, I had a different name for that. I call it the Phil Hellmuth maneuver. Because
exactly.
I actually saw Phil Hellmuth do that against Jungle Man in a heads-up match where he was playing super nitty for a really long time. And then he picked up deuce 3 off. And he was like, okay, I've been folding the whole time. He has to believe me. So he 3-bets Jungle Man with deuce 3 off. Jungle calls a6 suited. It comes like a6, 7. And Hellmuth triples in his stack on some random run out with 0 equity. And, well, not his entire stack, but most of it. And Jungle Man tanks the river for like 8 minutes with the clearest call in the world because he's so sure Hellmuth is never bluffing there before throwing in like the super crying call. So, yeah, I think it's kind of... It's definitely a thing players do, and especially if you're aware of your image, it can work quite well. Like the whole thing with playing non-GTO is people are adjusting to you, and you can sometimes level them a bit. Like if you've shown down 1 million give-ups, presumably people are gonna believe you, right, when you bluff.
Retard equity is an amazing term. Yeah, I didn't come up with it. Like I just heard it, like I said, but I loved it. It made like perfect sense too when I heard it. I'm like, oh yeah, that's like
I know what you mean, but usually it's very low, right? Like there will be some random spaz in some spots from certain players, but I've always thought it's like, I don't know, like 1%, like 2% max, like maybe not even that sometimes.
Yeah, but so let's say you're right, and let's say it's like 1%, and then it's 1% of like, you can even say like, it's 1% of just like random combos though, which adds like, if it's 1% of 7 deuce and 1% of 5-3 off and 1% of whatever. Like, you just start adding a few things.
I meant more 1% of the time, like when somebody makes a play.
Uh-huh.
But probably that's like way too low, I guess. But 5%
No.
does
I mean, I
sound
don't know.
high.
I'm not.
It's probably
I'm not sure what.
20% of the time, if I had to.
Yeah, like I'm not sure what the percentage is, but it's something, and it's real, right? Like when Yuri was counting combos, he was giving Sam all hands that are at least like half legit hands, and then so you take all the sort of legit hands, and then you add whatever percent you think it is of just complete randomness, right? And like that's a very real thing versus somebody like this. So that was all I was saying. And then like all of a sudden, if it's a really close spot with no random combos, then it's probably a super printing call when you just add in some few like banana hands, right?
Yeah.
Did we have any more interesting hands while we're...
I don't know. I was laughing at the
How much return equity you have versus different player type?
I probably need to wrap up in a few minutes because my head really hurts.
No, the Discord. The Discord. But yeah, don't read it. Okay, we got a hand. We can have a look at this one. And yeah, we appreciate any time you spend with us, Uri, as always, of course.
Yeah, man, I appreciate.
Hey, who's the owner of Coin Poker?
It's
Tony G. Oh,
just stop talking, Brendan. Listen
I
to this
thought
end.
it's Lama and Barak who owned Coin Poker.
Lama and Barak? Yeah, maybe maybe someday. Okay, this end, guys. Focus. Chris Nguyen opens low jack. Sam 3-bets in the cutoff. And then rigged cold 4-bet 5.2. Okay, oh, never mind that. That wasn't. Wait,
Yeah, I love this hand. This is perfect.
This is what you
I'm
wanted,
saying.
right?
Yeah, rigged. You could see from the ace queen. Rigged is getting his hands dirty. Like he's not sticking to the GTO charts. This is a very, very presumably out there 4-bet. Maybe it's like a 4% frequency GTO or a 0% frequency. I wouldn't be sure, but
Yeah.
And he might even be going, well, Sam with aces went min 3-bet. Now he's going bigger like he did with the king jack. So he might even think of it like that. So yeah, I love this one.
Brandon?
what's that? Oh, I mean, I agree.
Display?
Like yeah, makes sense
Is this
for
kind
sure.
of normal equity for you?
For rigged, yeah, I think it seems fine. What's cool is who opened free?
Chris, I think. Yeah, Chris.
Oh, Chris. Yeah.
What's cool is like you get in this crazy leveling war spot with the reg, right? Where like, I mean, this hand doesn't look like that crazy or anything, but like, let's say he showed ace 10 off or something. And then the next time a situation like this comes up, like what is Chris's 5-bet jam range or something gonna look like?
Yeah.
Or even Sam, right?
Playing wars. Well, yeah, for Sam, like, I think Sam seems like, from what I've seen, the kind of player who's more like if he wants to call and see a flop and see if he hits, not so much 5-bet jam it in your face.
Yeah.
Although he's probably got that move in him, I would guess. But yeah, I mean, I think for the Chris might have ace queen off here or something and just say fuck you and shove it in next time or something, right?
Yeah, but Sam also he saw ace 10 suited, called 4-bets now. So imagine next time he has ace queen suited. Is it just like the easiest chip of all time for him? If it comes back to him?
Yeah, he might. I'm not 100% sure.
He's gonna rip in rigged's face, I think. Yeah. Brandon, have you been playing the challenge?
Yeah, just a little bit. I'm doing okay.
How have you found the format compared to regular poker? Of when you're sitting down, it's it's
wait,
like
can we pull up that
photos
hand?
only, right? Like this is not.
Yeah. Yes. So the format. Just sorry, I saw Berkey flatted kings here,
Yeah,
which I
let's
thought was
see this
interesting.
hand. Let's see this.
But then I'll answer what you just said.
So Sam opens UTG, Berkey calls in the low jack with kings, Chris squeezes. There we go, leveling wars. Sam calls back to Berkey, and then now he re-raises.
Yeah, really small though.
Yeah, I think this is cool. I don't think I would ever personally do this, but I can see merit for it for sure.
Yeah, he's taking advantage if people attack Sam very wide, like Muniz was doing, for example, then this play.
Right. But the way that I would kind of think here is like people are going to cold 4-bet crazy wide too. Like when you're 3-betting the guy with whatever, and people are going to cold 4-bet you super. I don't know. So I would, and then also like you can 3-bet to whatever size. Like Sam Jazzy has no folding range versus the 3-bet. So
What do you think
Yeah.
about
anyway,
he ships the flop here instead of doing like a small bet?
I'm not a big fan.
yeah, I don't like that at all.
Right. I think that doesn't end up playing out too well for him.
What would you have bet if you had the kings?
I think with kings you might just check back, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't be in a rush to bet because the hands the other guys have are either drawing super duper thin, right? Like if they have tens or ace jack or queen jack suited, who cares? And if they somehow connected with 4, 5, 7, you're either dead or flipping. So I'm not like in a rush to pile it in with kings. And like when you shove, you kind of telegraph to the other people. You're telling them like, if you have jacks, you can fold. If you have nines, you can fold, right? If you have ace jack, you're not going to get a chance to improve to a jack. So I think it's also what's he bluffing with, right? Like is he just shipping ace king?
Yeah,
So
I guess
it's,
that's probably what he wants it to look like.
Yeah, but no one ships ace king there. I mean, maybe Berkey does. I don't know his game enough. If he does, then maybe puts people in a tough decision. But generally speaking, he doesn't even have ace king because people don't 4-bet ace king that small. So yeah. I feel like he's being a bit unsophisticated with how he's playing this hand.
Yeah, I don't like it, but whatever.
But you say people
It's fine. Yeah.
People don't 4-bet ace king that small. Like
Yeah.
I've been hearing about this from a friend also that kept telling me like in live play about how regs like 3-bet 4-bet to certain amounts with ace king to make it look like they have kings and stuff. So I'm curious if you could maybe elaborate on this. Like maybe there's something to be learned.
Well, so it's always a leveling war, but generally with ace king, you want people to fold when you 4-bet ace king.
Yeah.
You're not happy for them to flat you with jacks or 6-7 suited or any hand because you kind of need to hit with ace king. And that creates a situation where just put yourself in Berkey's shoes here. He has like a 20k stack. There's 6k in the pot and he has ace king. A very big chance he's just shipping, right? Like that's a very tempting play to ship 20k to win 6 with ace king.
Yeah.
Whereas this play of like clicking it back and having, both guys almost certainly call you and then having to hit your ace king, it's very awkward. So, in practice, and in theory, like in theory, I'd guess ace king would ship, and in practice, I think it ships. So the 4-bet range is not really including ace king too much.
And then if he did like 7.8, what would that
so
look like?
The thing is his stack size is very awkward because he has 20k. 7.8 is too big. Once he goes that big, he can't fold to a shove. So there's this threshold where once you go past it, you just chip.
Yeah, what is
right?
it?
Like you're not gonna. Depends how trashy your hand is. But somewhere between 30 and 40% of your stack is the point of no return.
Okay. So yeah, 7k would be 35%.
Yeah, like if he can have 7-3 suited, of course the point of no return shifts a bit.
Yeah.
But assuming he's gonna have playable hands here.
Yeah, this is a spot where like he can't. I don't think he ever really has like. He can't really ever have a bad hand here So then, like, yeah, it's hard to not be getting
Yeah.
whatever equity you need. Like, he had to flatten under the gun open with 5 people behind him. So it's like, yeah, it's not like he has ace 5 off or something.
Yeah.
I mean, that nice slow play though.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it worked out.
On the flop, you said like you would have checked back. Are you not afraid of like an 8, a 6, an ace showing up with kings?
Well, so it's a thinking ahead spot because the hands that hit the 8 or the 6 generally were not folding anyway, right?
Yeah.
So those hands, if you manage to check back and dodge, it's like you kind of saved yourself some money. Unless you think they're folding. Like if you think guys are folding 6s and 8s, it's a different story. But yeah, the 6-8-3 are not it's like trying to get to protect against a flush draw when the other guy's stacking off a flush draw anyway. Like the money's going in against those hands, so you don't mind seeing a safe turn first.
Okay.
And against an ace, yeah, I mean it's a shame to give the ace a free card, but it is very, very face up, right? Like the ace is you're not gonna not see that someone could have an ace.
So if the ace comes on the turn, like let's say it checks around and then everybody checks again, would you ever bet kings, or are you still looking to check again?
Well, you're in the kings on an ace high board trap, right? That's the nightmare hold'em situation for kings, and there's no clean answer, right? You can't, if you always check and always bet your ace X, then you always have kings on the river. If you always, yeah, it's kind of tough. There's like no good answer, and the thing you need to realize is just that you're a bit fucked, and then take it from there. So you can bet small or check.
Yeah.
As long as you like, don't try to fight it. Don't look for a line where suddenly you realize all your equity, because once the ace comes, kings is, at this point, it's not, this is the beautiful thing about poker, is how every card that comes, you have to reevaluate your hand. So kings pre-flop, you're dancing in your chair, ace high board, suddenly your kings is very mediocre, and it's, as long as you make that shift, the hand is very easy to play. It's only tough because emotionally people get a bit stuck and they're like, it's kings, I have to do something special because it's kings. If you let go of that, it becomes much easier.
Yeah. I guess we've been hurt by, the aces that we see on flop or turns and stuff when we have kings, but it seems like you do a very good job seeing the whole picture. And I guess that's what it is here, right? You're seeing the whole picture. You're like, well, yes, sometimes the ace can fall and like it's kind of shitty, but then a lot of the time, almost every time, in fact, except for 4 outs, it's something else than an ace, and then you're fine.
I think people want to see more action if you're still showing the 5-4-7 board.
It's just that one guy. It's fine. Just ignore him. I'll keep the replay here, in fact, just for him. Actually,
Yeah,
the tables broke mostly.
Oh,
yeah,
the tables break. I'm sorry to hear.
I think Sam got pissed that I said retard equity on stream, and he left.
I don't know. I mean, it wasn't about him. It was like a general thing that you said.
Exactly. Thank you.
Yeah.
But you guys have a very deliberate use of that word, I gotta say, in the poker high stakes community. I've never heard that word as much as I did commentating with some of you guys.
I never use that word, to be fair.
Yeah.
I never.
Yeah, llama is just.
Cards.
Hey, easy. Should say that. Start saying the R word, I guess. Yeah, I guess last thing, because I'll probably go in a sec. Since the games are done, but to answer Yuri's question, so I think you asked like how the games were playing versus all regs or something.
Because here you're playing against the very best with no soft spot at the table. Like it's all the top guys. They're all there to battle. They all presumably think they have an edge, right? So how does this experience differ from playing your regular stakes at your regular site.
Yeah, I think I mentioned it on stream a bit the other day that it's very hard to it's very hard to play anything else while you're playing these games because Berkey was in the chat. Cool. It's hard to play anything else while you're playing these games because the level of intensity is just so much higher, I think. Mm-hmm. So even just playing a different site, even if it's the same format, like 6 max cash or whatever, is still hard because just having a different site, and like I don't know, everything is just like a bit harder because your intensity is so much higher than probably what's normal for me when I'm playing. So I also play like shorter sessions. I take more breaks and stuff like that. Like everything has to be more whatever, because I think it's just like it's almost like playing heads up basically.
Yeah.
So less tables, shorter sessions, more like
everyone's hyper focused on each other.
Right, because you can't like take a hand off. Yeah, you don't want to like take a hand off or something.
Interesting.
Versus these guys, that's at least my approach. But yeah, I haven't played anywhere near as much volume as a lot of the guys. So
okay, so Brandon, we have a 52k pot if you're sticking around. Where
we'll do.
It looks like a very non-GTO call by Rigged, but we'll see what you think. Rigged has 6-9 of hearts.
So Munez opens button, heads up, 3-bet to 2k, call. 6-3 deuce 2 spades. Rigged.
3-bet small. Yeah.
Near quarter, call. 8 of diamonds.
Yeah, and he has 6-9, so he could check or bet again. I think it's kind of close with 6-9. He goes check and faces a big bet, probably calls. So at this point, the hand is very theory. This is where it gets interesting. So what do you think, Brandon, of 6-9 of hearts facing the river shove?
He has 18k and there's 16 in the pot.
Yeah, like seems like half reasonable. I'm assuming he called, right? Because that's why it was such a big pot.
He called.
Yeah, I can see it for sure. Like, I don't know how much to say or not say or whatever, but
just say
there's like
you feel comfortable saying. It's not.
Well, I mean the 9.
You can just Rigged as a station, you retard, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Oh my god.
Rigged would like that, I think, honestly, from what I get from him. But
Matt,
Rigged
his play, by the way, he's saying he thought he knows the jam is lazy, but he thought Sammy would rarely fold that board. So probably familiarity with Sammy.
Yeah, that makes sense actually. I could see it. I would have still you were saying check back. I actually would have just bet smaller there because I think letting Sammy call like Jack 10 or something on that board is just worth so much. Like the board's 7 high and you give him a chance to do something with, like, let's say he has Jack 10 with a backdoor. Maybe he check jams on you, or maybe he check calls to see if he can hit the turn or something like that. Anyway, to this hand, yeah, I think like I can definitely see it. And I think in terms of like having the 9 is kind of nice because like Munez has King 10 off. I think a lot of Munez's bluffs will be stuff like this, and then you call more stuff like King 10 off, Queen 10 off, Jack, like Queen Jack off, all that stuff, than the ones with a 9. So I think the 9 is
saying like more than having a diamond is relevant. You want to have a low kicker for your pair.
I think a low kicker is kind of nice. I don't think the diamond is like crazy relevant because
it's like
I think Munez is still jamming.
It's fairly wide there.
I mean, isn't Munez still jamming like even probably 2 pairs? Maybe that's close, and then sets, I'm not sure, and then definitely any straight or better.
And someone saying bluff with a spade seems lazy. I don't know, man. Like we never know if these guys randomize like his moon is going for I'll bluff this combo 15% or is he just pure ripping it. So it's tough to say. It's super lazy, but definitely a spade is not an ideal card. And yeah, maybe it's actually a good comment, right? Like if you're gonna rip the river, don't have a spade, and it's not hard to pick up hands with no spade. Because the folding range for rigged presumably is going to be some ace king, ace queen, ace jack type of spade hands. But yeah, nice call by rigged. Was this like 260 deep or no? It's 100, 200. Oh, so
it's like
standard.
125 or what is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can definitely see it, and who knows? Like Rig didn't snap it in, right? He probably tanked and then RNG'd, or I don't know.
You know he snapped in his head, right?
Sure. Yeah, maybe he snapped in his head. What do you think, by the way? I guess that's the last thing I'll ask. What do you think about just like the mental side of like, what do you think about just snapping it in there in some spot with like with a catcher? I know some people like doing that, some people don't.
Well, this is why I'm saying poker has dimensions to it, because snapping is very personal. If you snap someone with a catcher, you know, like if you can imagine Llama sitting at the computer and overbet shoving, and you just snap him with one pair, he's gonna start like getting pissed off. He's gonna remember. Whereas if you tank to the last second and then call it, it's much easier for him. So you're getting more under people's skin, and it's you know, we'd like to think all these guys are robots, but definitely not. Like, these are just young 20-something-year-olds. So definitely can get personal.
Yeah, that's what I kind of mean. Like I'm not a snapper, but I know some people who are. I think it's kind of cool. Like
it adds it adds some EV to snap.
Yeah, I could see it. Like if Rig just turbos this one in there or whatever.
Yeah.
Then like it's definitely tilting for Munez for sure.
You feel owned, right, when the other guy snaps you.
Yeah, if he tanks for 45 seconds and then
of course if he snaps you and he's wrong, you might say, oh, this stupid station. But either way, it might be. So what Rig should do is he should decide in advance if he can. And then like whatever he decided, just snap it in, and he gets
turbo it in there.
Equity.
Ah, okay, I like it. Maybe I'll try that. Like I said, I'm not a snapper, but I could see it.
You could become one.
I mean, you have to do something if you want to play the timing game. You do something between snapping and slow rolling, right? Like it's between one of those two edges.
Right. And then, it's just interesting. So I guess you just put the other guy on a little bit of tilt. I don't even know if it's like in a certain direction. Like is the guy less likely to bluff you if you just turbo it in there, or does he like, I don't know.
Depends on the context, but depends on the hand you turbo it in there with as well. But he's definitely likely to tilt a bit and play less well, I would say.
Like it. All right. Well, maybe that'll be something we try. What's this all in?
It's going to be in his brain the next time he thinks of bluffing. He's going to imagine the pain of getting snapped.
Yeah. That's a good point.
And then he's in theory he's going to be more bluffing averse. And then some guys, they react to that by saying, fuck this shit. This guy's, I'm not afraid of you. And then just to get over the fear, they force themselves and they massively overbluff. So it depends on the personality a lot, and that's what.
Yeah, I can definitely.
Yeah, so that's where the fact that we have these podcasts, you can judge the personality of how people would react, right, to a snap. Like how would you react to a snap? Would you back down or go on the offense if someone snaps you? What's your reaction?
I don't know. I probably shouldn't say though, right? Like, but I'm not even 100% sure. Like, it's kind of rare, but there are the few guys who do it. Like Llama is one of them for sure.
Yeah.
Llama's funny though too, because he won't even snap you. He'll snap message you on Discord or something and just say like, I'm calling, like right when the bet, sometimes even before you bet the river or something. And then like, and then he tanks on the table and then calls, but it was already, it was a snap Discord message. So I don't know.
So I have,
That's like,
I have two related stories. One is, I think this was against True Teller at like 200, 400 PLO. He was playing some well-known guy, I forget his name. And True Teller bet the river, and the other guy tanked to like the last second of his time bank before shoving over the bet, and the other guy just had the nuts. Right? So it was like, I don't know even how to describe it, but True Teller got insanely tilted by that hand. Because it was clear the other guy was fucking with him in some way. So that's one snapping or tanking story. And then the other one I have, which you reminded me of, one of the guys who taught me how to play poker, we were playing a home game, and we were all kind of fish, and they love doing things in the dark. So he told one of my friends, before the flop was dealt, he was like, I check raise you in the dark. So the flop came, he checked. The guy bet, he raised, and the guy folded.
wait, what? Wait.
I don't know. I just found that hilarious.
That's hilarious. So I don't know if it's binding or whatever. You guys are playing a home game, but how do you bet a hand that has to bet fold if the guy told you he was check raising?
Because he got into the other guy's head. The other guy was like, surely he's just saying this to discourage me from betting, right? So
Yeah,
it's your
yeah.
personality. It's like, this guy's not gonna boss me around.
Yeah, and then you just bet
the other
some
guy's
bullshit.
just a retard. Just a retard.
Yeah, I like it. All right, I gotta try some of this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, this is the fun stuff in poker.
Yeah, I agree. It's cool too with a challenge like this. It seems like everybody's like relatively friendly or like kind of talking and stuff for the most part. So
Yeah,
I think
this is really cool that you kind of get to know everyone. I'm sad we don't get people on camera. I think that would be really cool for the stream.
that'd be super fun. I guess for the next iteration of this or something, maybe they'll do it like that.
I'd love to see Llama's face as he's slow rolling someone.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Well,
That'd be great.
considering some of you guys' language, I'm not sure the cameras would be such a good idea because I don't know what I would expect, Brandon.
Yeah, maybe you don't even have to have like. I mean, it would be fun with talking though.
Yeah.
But maybe you don't even have to have talking. You could just have the camera, I guess, or something.
You know what?
Just to like.
You know what Con Poker should do?
see
They should
someone
do a talk show. Like during the break now, just do a talk show with like a bunch of the players in this challenge, and then they review some hand together in a big call. Imagine the chaos.
That's cool. I mean, that's kind of what this stream is a little bit, right? We haven't gotten gotten a decent amount of the people in here.
For sure.
Anyway, all right. Well, I'm gonna go. Good talking to you guys, and I'll see you guys soon. Good luck.
Thanks for dropping by.
Are you sticking around? Bye, Brandon. Thank you. Are you sticking around a bit?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
What about you?
We'll see. We'll see a little bit.
Okay.
So you were telling me the other day that you and Muniz are both Warcraft pros, right?
Yeah, I started watching his podcast with the mechanics of poker, and then he started talking about that he played Warcraft 3. That's like the first game I was a professional gamer on. So I was pretty surprised.
And Warcraft 3 is, I remember playing it back in the day. It's a game where to be good, you have to be, like, your brain needs to be able to micromanage a million things, and you have to be very accurate with your mouse clicks at the same time, right?
Accurate, yes. A million things, not necessarily. I mean, the max supply in the game is 100, which is less than, StarCraft would be 200, for example.
Yeah,
But,
but what I mean is like you're multitasking. You have your build order. You're expanding. You're moving your armies, and then in a battle, you're also moving stuff back and forth, and you have to do all these things at the same time as you're strategizing, right?
yeah. It's not the fastest game. Like StarCraft is way faster, I think, than Warcraft 3. But yeah, it is. It is
Wait,
kind of like
you
that.
you have to show us the 10-9 hand. Prodigy, I think, just ran a big bluff.
Which table was it?
Um, against Davy Jones.
This one. So open and call.
Yeah.
That's a bit less than half.
Mm-hmm.
Call. Overbet's turn. Double
Yeah,
gutter.
that's fairly normal. I think that's fairly normal so far.
So what's the range here that would do this? Like now he's doing it with a double gutter, but if he has like, is it just the strong flushes, sets?
Well, because it's heads up, things get wide.
Okay.
And again, this is one of the reasons I think someone was asking why don't I play the challenge, because I'm not on point with my ranges. Like I'm not accurate with thresholds at this day and age. So I don't know, like, is this queen 9 plus or is this queen 10 plus or queen 7 plus? But it's somewhere around a good top pair.
Okay.
In heads up and in 6 max, depending on the position pair, which kicker you can go for, right? Like UTG versus big blind, obviously you go less.
Okay.
So
And then what does it achieve exactly? Like to overbet like this? Is it a one sizing turn, or you said like Prodigy kind of plays the
well,
more
I
advanced
can't
strategy?
say. So the thing that happens in Hold'em is that you have a bunch of different hands. They want to do a bunch of different things, right? Like in theory, say you have pocket nines here, you want to bet half pot, right, on a turn.
Yeah.
If you have a6, maybe you want to bet third pot. If you have, deuces, maybe you want to bet 2x pot. So each hand wants to do something different. And then if you give it to a computer, the computer is going to be like, well, I'm going to, do 4 different sizings at the same time. We're going to fill each of them in with, various amounts of the hands that are supposed to do them, and everything's perfectly balanced. But what players generally do is they pick one size, and then the most important size on the turn tends to be the one that is for your knotted hands, because you don't have enough time to get money, and so you tend to build around those on the turn, which is why you often see players going over bet only.
Okay. Perfect explanation as always. We see a call and then queen on the river pairing the boards.
Yeah.
Check. And Prodigy jams for Davy Jones had 9k behind and there was 4k in the pot.
Yeah, and again, this is a play where, well, what can you do this with? Certainly somewhere around queen jack plus, maybe queen 10 plus. It's tough to know exactly where you draw the line. Certainly like deuces, sixes, eights are amazing because you unblock a queen. And a lot of people on the river will have 2 sizes because they want to bet their good trips, but maybe they want to keep betting kings and aces, for example. Though I'm not sure you get to bet kings and aces, so maybe this is just the size here. Maybe this is just the only size. So yeah, maybe this is that's a crazy thing. You look at the hands and then you're like, oh, it looks crazy, but he just bluffed with a busted open ender for the correct theory sizes, and nothing special happened.
Well, special enough for me. Okay. SK in the chat wants me to try and find a hand, so I will have a look quickly. Sorting by pot size, maybe we can find it. Yeah, that's not the one. I'm not sure if it was posted on 2+2, he says, but how long ago was that? Was it like a while back or recently? On the table here that they have right there, the only hand I could find is the one that it was just the ace king suited like a sevens all in pre. Which, by the way, is that standard heads up?
I mean, it's fine. It's fine. These are like their ace kings clearly standard, and then sevens is like some low frequency play. Did Owen rip in the sevens or did he 4-bet call?
Yeah, it just went in pretty much.
Yeah, so I'm assuming it's standard. You have, this is what I was saying with ace king ripping, and then you rip some pairs. Like it's just a thing in Hold'em where you do that sometimes. And again, I don't know the threshold in 6 max. It's more somewhere between 10s to kings ripping, depending on position. So I could see sevens being the hand in heads up.
Okay. I was trying to find the hand, but oh, it's not there.
Okay, I'll be back in 2 minutes.
Okay. If okay, actually, SK, I will open the 2+2 threads, and then maybe we can take it from here. Let me see. What time was it posted at? Or like, what's the post number in the high stakes thread? Having a look now. You said it was Davy and Prodigy. Maybe they should make separate threads for PLO. There's a bunch of PLO in there. 10-17, okay. Okay, I got it. So what was your question? Okay, I'll ask as soon as Uri is back. And I should be able to... Maybe the whole hand won't fit on screen necessarily, but I'll try to show it as much as possible. Yeah, the overlay is not made to show like clean vertical things, but who knows? Maybe look all right. I guess effective stack maybe can be cut off. The VIP game. Wait, how long did it last? Oh, it started at 6, so it's lasted like a bit over 3 hours, I guess. For a second, I thought it lasted only an hour or something. Can you ask Uri if he still plays Magic the Gathering from time to time? Yeah, I can. I feel like when you retired from something you were very good at, you usually are going to keep it as some sort of like interest. But sometimes it can be like a more distant interest. For example, I was pro in 2 different video games, but then I went back to the first one that I was pro in to stream that and play it a lot. And the second game, StarCraft 2, I still, I still have an interest in it, but I feel like I don't have the time to dedicate fully to 2 different video games. So for StarCraft 2, I'll occasionally tune into like tournaments. I mean, it's kind of like that. So I wonder, actually, I'm curious now if Uri has a similar thing.
Hey man, I'm back.
Hey. Okay, so Supak K-Pick
Yeah.
Supak Pick asked, can you ask Uri if he still plays Magic the Gathering from time to time?
I play once a year. Once a year we meet with some friends, but yeah, I love Magic the Gathering, but just too many important things to do, so don't have time to play it as much as I'd like, and that's that's one of the things that changes. Like when I was young, and doing college or whatever, I could play Magic the Gathering like 14 hours a day as I was doing other things. But yeah, too many responsibilities now. So, and I'm too addicted. So if I start, I have to play a lot. I can't play like every once in a while.
Yeah.
So I have to keep the addiction under control.
And do you tune in for like the World Championships occasionally, or like any sort of streams maybe?
Well, so the thing is, they do super bad advertising in
Okay.
Magic the Gathering, so you actually often don't know when it's on. But I sometimes, rarely. It's the thing in Magic is they print new cards all the time. So if you haven't been in the game, it's tough to follow something. You
Okay.
don't know the. It's like poker with new cards every few months.
So how many unique cards are there? Like just tens of thousands?
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. And
And guess how much the most expensive one is worth? It was worth, I'll give you a hint. When I started playing, it was worth $300. Guess how much it's worth now?
oh, yeah, like $1 million.
I think it's worth more.
Yeah,
Yeah. Crazy.
that doesn't even surprise me. Yeah, I think Pokemon also has like rare stuff.
Yeah, I think one sold for $3 million.
Mamma
And I
mia.
could have gotten a bunch of them for like $300 back in the day. I didn't have $300. I just had lunch money.
Yeah.
And if I'd been smart, I would have played poker with my friends. I would have gambled on the lunch money, and then I'd have bought one of those things. And yeah,
There you go. You can be the, in Back to the Future, that guy who like just does sports betting. You can be that guy, but then you just like buy mass Bitcoin and those Magic the Gathering cards. And you're a billionaire.
well, yeah. I won't say I've never thought of that.
We just
yeah.
need that time machine now.
Just need a time machine. That's all we need. Even in poker, do you sometimes like you play poker hands, and then I'm like, if I had it. Oh wait, is there like did someone just like 7x spot shove the river?
Yeah, I mean Davy Jones has 12K.
12K. Okay, that's still a nice one. So I'm trying to see from the pot size what happened. It's like BVB.
You can rewatch.
Queen. Nice. Let's see.
This was, I need to pull it up. And there's a hand after that that's SK asked us to review from 2+2. I couldn't find it in the replayer. So blind on blind, raise, call, small bets on king 8-7, rainbow, call.
Yeah.
10 of clubs, check. Pot size bet by Munez. David Jones.
You know the feeling I'm getting watching these replays?
What?
Is just don't fold the river in these games and you do okay.
Check.
Right? There's a
Yeah, he just jams.
yeah. And
Davy Jones folds, and it was the queen jack.
yeah, so again the unique thing that you see here, I think, in these games is the frequency with which these guys are putting their entire stack in. And when I play like 1KNL online and I put my stack in, people will sometimes hero call me and say, I'm only calling because it's you. I'd never call against anyone else. Because generally until you reach the very highest stakes, people are kind of shy about bluffing 4x spot or 6x spot. There's something, you're kind of risk averse to it. But these guys are just they know the theory. They've done it a million times. They're, this is a play with my queen jack. Put my stack in. I'll do it with jack 9. I'll do it with 6-9. I'll do it with maybe with king 10. Who knows? How wide do you go? I don't think you go with king 10 though.
It's hard to imagine Davy Jones had a losing hand here, I guess, right?
Davy Jones could have had queen jack. I think that's about the worst hand he could have here. Maybe queen 9 of clubs.
5-6.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. He probably folded the best hand. Fair to assume.
Yeah.
But the show table should see what he folded, because it's very different if he folded, like some ace queen high or something, which is a snap folder. He had an actual tough decision.
Well, what do you mean it should show what he folded?
I mean, I wish we'd see what the people who fold.
Oh, you want to see everything, do you now?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Okay, let's do that hand that SKS.
I can televise TV shows. You see everything, right?
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, then there's big delay, and then it becomes like kind of like a different thing. But yeah, no, I agree with you. I think that would be fun, but I'm not sure how much the players would like that. I guess if the winning hand is shown, maybe showing the losing hand also is like not as big of a deal. Would that be feasible?
I think you would make a much more entertaining stream.
Yeah.
If we know what the guy who folds has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then you can still stream without delay, and then you get to see.
Yeah, you just get to see it along with everyone else.
Yeah, that's sick. Actually, great idea. Okay, let's see that hand that we were asked about. 1 second, I will bring it up. It works. So this is Davy Jones and Prodigy 100 effective. I'll let you have a look at the hand first, and then I'll read the question because it's a long question by SK. So let me know when you're ready.
Okay, so I'm trying because it's kind of bad resolution, but Davy raises Prodigy 3 bets. Button versus cutoff, it looks like, right?
I'll post
small blind.
I'll post a screenshot in Discord. It will be way easier for you to see.
Perfect. How do I? Yeah. So button versus small blind. We get ace jack deuce two-tone. Prodigy leads for a small bet, which that generally that implies he's betting most of his hands. You get the king turn, and then you always think, maybe I'll ask you this, like, how would you categorize the king turn? Who's it good for? Is it a brick? What do you expect to happen there?
I would say, I mean, just it's omega simplified because I'm just not very knowledgeable, but I'd say like the 3-better already has an advantage on ace jack, and then the king probably continues in that trend.
Yeah, I mean that's not bad. Generally speaking, it's true. But the tricky thing is, on the one hand, the king brings in pocket kings. It improves ace king. Now you beat ace deuce or ace jack. But also the other guy makes it with queen 10, right? So that's whereas on the flop, you're the one with all the nutted stuff. On the turn, suddenly both of you have the 4 queen 10 suited combos. So it's a tricky card, I guess, but probably a bit better for out of position. And then Prodigy checks, Davy bets, Prodigy calls, and again you have to ask yourself, right? This is where these guys are really going to shine. Like, what is Davy bluffing with? And he kind of has to turn something into a bluff. He's not going to have, like, just flush draws is not enough. So he has to bluff some, whether it's like a jack 10 hand, or I don't know if he gets to peel like 3s with a spade or something, but he has some of these hands, right? Some pair turned into a bluff.
Yeah. But in this specific scenario, he has a full house, so it's like a clear call on the river. But I guess there is some hands he's going to be in a tough spot with.
Yeah, I mean, Prodigy could have like an ace queen, an ace 10, a king jack, an ace x of spades, a king x of spades, right? Like there are plenty of hands he could have that are in tough spots. But yeah, I mean, this is how you win the championship, right? You have votes when they shove, and Davy's making. You know, again, it's kind of a sharp bluff, but we wouldn't expect anything less from one of the best in the world. So not surprising to see the queen jack getting in there.
And so the question from SK was, Uri, can you comment on this hand with Davy, button, Prodigy, small blind, 3-bet pots, B25, check call, 75, check call shove. Prodigy shows aces and Davy shows queen jack of hearts. Is this some sort of mergy voodoo? Trying to fold out king x, get called by jack x tens?
No. It's just when the board has multiple high cards and ranges get tight, you have to turn some pairs into bluffs. It's not mergy voodoo.
So the queen jack suited was a good candidate here?
Yeah. I think any jack is a reasonable candidate to start blasting off, because you block your opponent's ace jack and pocket jacks, which are in the calling range. You don't realistically have much showdown value. Like, you're not winning often. Yeah, and like we said, you already called a flop bet on ace jack too, so you can't have nothing, right? You can't have eights. You can't have 5-6 suited backdoor flush draw. So you have like your 4-5 suited, some flush draws, and then this is kind of next in line and makes sense to throw it in there, I think. But no mergy magic. Just like the thing for you to remember is when the board is very, very high, and you need to be a bit creative to bluff.
Okay. And like this type of line, you will see a lot from, like, let's say like no limit 200, the best regs, no limit 500 and above. Would you say is correct, or do you think even before that some players are going to be able to find those lines and those bluffs, or not enough?
It's very personality dependent.
Yeah.
And it's funny to say this. I would say some people playing lower stakes, they're just maniacs, so they love bluffing, and then they find this, but not necessarily because it's an accurate. Like, they'll find a lot of bluffs all the time. And then generally speaking, you need to get kind of high for people to have these. Probably not 200. I think 1K, a decent amount of guys have these. 500 I haven't played in a long time, so I would guess maybe not.
Yeah.
And the tough thing is, like, let's say you're 12 tabling. Oh wait, we have another. Look at this, Prodigy's all in and he's bluffing again. Who would have guessed that?
Aggressive.
That looked fairly aggressive. That looked fairly out of line.
Okay, so nothing. You said everything on these ends?
Yeah. I mean, there's a concept there that I talk about in my course as well, which is, you know, when the pot is kind of too big for your hand, and you need to be very flexible to say the pot's too big for a pair, but it does get too big, then, you know, it's legitimate to turn it into a bluff. That's basically what's going on.
Which course is that? Because you got multiple, right?
It's the Poker Blueprint, which is a course I put out lately. It's like a 10-hour course that's trying to take all the solver logic and just make it into regular logic. So it's for people who don't feel like looking at charts and stuff like that.
It's on upswing?
Yes.
How much?
I think $500.
Nice. And how many masterclass, or like, I guess course do you have? Masterclass probably not the right word. How many courses do you have? Like 4 now?
I have 3. And one is like a 25-hour one, which is very how to exploit people. Which is, it's kind of a lost art for a lot of the solver guys, because the solvers don't they just give you the pre-flop chart, but you never had to to figure out how the pre-flop chart was made. So I go through a lot of like how stable are the pre-flop solutions? How do you adjust if people are making certain mistakes? Where you open wider or tighter? How do you 3-bet? How do you call 3-bets if someone's in it or if he's going too big or too small? So we kind of go very into the weeds exploiting. And then the other course is called the Red Line Rocket Ship. It's a very, very condensed 4-hour course about just a bunch of red line concepts and how to check raise in general. But very, very, like, you get a ton of information very fast in that course.
And then the latest one, when did you say? It's very recent?
Yeah, like probably 2 months ago or so.
Okay, yeah, very new. Because like courses usually, like over time, would you say that maybe they become a bit less relevant, or it would have to be like many, many years for them to lose relevance?
Well, as someone who's been around in poker for a really long time, there are so many things that everyone was sure about that turned out to be false.
Yeah.
It's kind of tough to say with confidence because I would like to say these courses are like forever relevant, but you know what happened in chess with suddenly the Google AI thing came in and everything kind of changed. So I don't know. I would say that they should remain relevant unless something dramatic changes, but I'm not one to rule that out.
Yeah. Actually,
So what's the Jack 3 versus King 3? What the fuck?
yeah, let's see.
How did 21K go in?
Yeah, something happened here for sure.
This is pretty wild shit. Let's see this one.
So
I bet you this is like on the flop bet 3-bet 4-bet or something. Right? Like check, Prodigy bets, he check raises his Jack 3, and then he calls his King 3. Okay. And then Davey overbets and Prodigy ships. Jesus. It's a crazy guy.
he probably thinks, oh, I shouldn't say that. Do you think that this is because there's a lot of draws? Like there is obviously a bunch of straight draws.
Yeah. He's trying to own draws, but he'd do better owning draws if his sidecar, if his pair was higher, generally. Because the other guy's gonna get in some combo draw or something sometimes, and he's gonna be doing not that great with King 3. So it's kind of out there, but very again, just not shy putting their stack in, these guys.
If you're David Jones here, and then now you see a play like this, then do you start calling way wider in this type of spots, knowing that maybe Prodigy is getting a little bit out of line sometimes, or do you just think it's like a one-time thing and he's gonna adjust, expecting you to start calling wider?
That's the tricky thing with this. You want to call wider, but which hands are you gonna call? You had to check raise and bet big, right?
Yeah.
So you would have to be very like, you have to check raise wider and barrel wider in anticipation of this. And who knows, Prodigy RNG'd like 3% or something, right, to do this. And then you're adjusting the entire game tree based off of random noise. So it's tough to do too much against, because you have to plan ahead to be able to call wider. You can just call GTO, and this is probably a losing play though, so you don't have to do too much. Yeah, not losing a lot, but it doesn't look great.
I want to ask you about a hand, actually, if you don't mind, that I played myself. I'll send it in the group. I was streaming earlier, actually, today, a little bit. And then I had these hands, and I'm very curious what you think, because it's like such a weird spot. So
Okay.
I'm not going to show it on stream, so I'll just enumerate it, or like narrate it. So I opened cutoff with ace-jack suited, small blind, Chinese player calls. and then it comes Queen Jack 4, 2 spades, 1 heart, and I have Ace Jack of diamonds. I bet, I don't remember how much, but I would guess maybe around like big or half he calls. And then on the King of Diamonds turn, we check around. And then on a Jack River, so I have trips now in top kicker, he leads out. I would guess probably half from the size of my re-raise, or maybe a bit less. I re-raise, but then he re-raises. And then I feel like this type of spots in like the flush draw missed, but this type of spot in like low stakes, they just I don't see like it's just not bluffing here. I just don't see him re-raising a worse trips. To me, he only has a straight, or he has force, or he has a boat. Is that do you think does it make sense?
So I always start with theory, and theory would say, you're raising trips, so you need to call some trips, right?
Yeah.
Like your range is mostly Jack X for raising, and so you can't fold every Jack X, or the guy gets to bluff you. And then what you're saying, which is a great thought process, is okay, that's theory, but I don't think people bluff here. And like I said, that's very individual. Generally speaking, I agree with you. There's a bit of a selection bias, like a mathematical selection bias, where even if a really small amount of guys are doing this as a bluff, when you actually see this, the chance that you're against one of them actually goes way up because their frequency is much higher. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a bit tough. And then I always look at the country the guy is from. So if he's German, you snap fold. And generally Chinese is a tough one. I would be very unsure. Chinese guys are very creative. So and any other flag, I'd be with you with this one. I guess I lay it down, but I'm in two minds about it.
Yeah, this is like a whole picture thing, right? Because like the flag is important, but maybe like the stats in the HUD can tell you a lot as well. Like if the guy's like kind of tight stats,
yeah, I mean,
small blind flats
ideally you're paying attention to every single hand he's playing.
I was, but the small blind flat is already so off-putting because when people flat in small blind, I already put them on like all these hands, like force. It's a 10-9 suited. Sometimes he could have queen jack.
Yeah, but wouldn't he check raise you on the flop with fours or queen jack?
In this limit, people like check raising on the turn with their set a lot more.
Yeah. I mean, fair enough. If that, which limit is this? Is this
50?
50. Yeah, I don't have enough experience to say. I like the way that you're thinking. I like the way that the correct approach is to ask the question of, not what's theory and let's defend myself so he can't bluff me, but will people actually come up with bluff? So you're definitely approaching it correctly, and I don't have I haven't put in the legwork at 50 NL to answer.
Yeah. That's the tricky part about sharing a hand too. Like I feel like when I played in Vegas and I shared hand with my friends, like they play much higher stakes where people play entirely different. So they often told me like, oh, this is a clear call or this is a clear fold, but they only take on consideration like a brief hand history. They don't see like how the people look like when they did something and all that stuff as well.
Yeah, I mean, so that's the thing in poker. If you ask someone a question, you need to give them all the information.
Yeah,
right.
Sure.
If the question is a theoretical question, you don't need to ask a person anymore these days, right? You can just ask the machine. And if it's a read-based question, you have to give them all the factors that led into your decision, I think, and then kind of see, are they spotting anything you missed, basically. And here, like, I don't know your flop sizing. I don't know his exact river sizing. I don't know the timing. I don't know previous hands he played. So one of the first things you should do is this is going is bring up the replay or go quickly through, see if there are any showdowns you can find against the guy that would help you decide.
Yeah, the big hands with him, you mean?
Yeah. Like maybe he pulled a crazy bluff and showed. And if that's true, this is probably a snap fold, I guess, because he showed recently.
In this case, I had no info because he's not labeled, and I label literally everyone.
Yeah, so it's his first hand. I mean, that's info too, right?
Yeah.
Like anyone who puts in half his stack on his first hand is way more likely to be spazzing out.
No, I mean, like, I don't know about first hand, but
Yeah, his first orbit, whatever. Like as long as it happens really fast.
yeah, it's one of the first time I played with him because if I like now after this hand, I will already have labeled him and I've written down the way he played the hands and like re-raised me and that he flatted the small blind.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, I heard you have a good video actually about taking notes on YouTube. So I was planning on watching that later. I watched one yesterday, the one where you played like a short session and then you reviewed 2 hands. I think it might have been to limit 200. That's interesting. Very short though, like 14 minutes. Usually, I feel like poker content, it will be like either like super short or on the longer side. Now you're almost like in between. But that was nice because like it's like I was having food and then I just watched the video.
Yeah. I don't know. I just do what people like the linked people tell me, but yeah, it's like a really long video, a really short video. I don't know which format is better. They lend themselves to something different.
Yeah.
I think they're both fun. As someone who doesn't have time, I guess I prefer the short ones. If I see a long one, I can't watch generally.
I think the hardcore poker players or fans, they will prefer the longer stuff, like super in depth. But someone that's like more casual, they probably will prefer something shorter that they can watch like pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Bigfoot asked, Johan, is there another weekly hand review video coming out with Kaki and some of the players reviewing hands like the last 2 weeks? I would expect so. I know that Coin Poker is working on a lot of content around the challenge. So I can't say for sure, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there is some stuff cooking up.
We should invite all these guys to a live stream.
Yeah, sometimes we had calls. I mean, it's really like up to them whenever they want to join. But sometimes we did have calls. I can have some of them.
I mean like a live poker like meetup in Vegas or something or in Europe.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Because this is like the new high stakes poker, right?
Yeah.
In a way, in a weird way. It's a different format. I don't think anyone's ever done like this kind of format where battling and showing cards online. I don't know that this has been done. Sometimes someone streams, he shows his cards, but this is like everyone showing all the cards.
Imagine if like there's this lineup or like a bunch of these guys playing live, but you make it a show table. They have to show like they did here. That would be pretty fun.
Yeah.
Because like obviously as spectator, if a game is like live and televised, you'd see everything. But now players playing in it also get to see.
You know what I would do? I would say you have to show, and in order to not show, you need to pay 1 big blind.
So in what context would that happen? Would somebody prefer playing the big blind?
I mean, even just to fuck the other guy over, right? Like it's just a big blind, and the other guy's like, okay, fold, show me your hand, and he's like, no, here's $100. You don't get to see my hand.
Worth every penny.
Like, yeah. I think it would be a fun dynamic, and then you would get players wouldn't mind that you show the folder and you just show everything, because it's like if it's an important hand, just pay the big blind, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and that creates a fun trolling dynamic.
Last time you seemed to, when I asked you if you were going to play, initially you said no, and then you seemed to kind of be thinking about it that maybe you might play some. So is there a chance that after we return from the break, you hop into those games a little bit?
When do we return from the break?
It's a week-long break from the 23rd to the 29th. So on the 30th.
No, my kids are on holiday till the 7th.
Okay.
So it's tough to play. Yeah, you have to imagine I'm up since 6 a.m. and doing stuff all day and then just going at night to commentate. But I can't like sit down focused play and like my brain's fried.
Yeah, I understand. So there is an hour and 44 minutes left in the challenge, and we see actually, I guess Owen thinks he needs to. I'm not sure if somebody passed him during the day. I wouldn't think so, but yeah, he wants to put some reps in, and he's trying to
I
climb
don't know.
higher.
Maybe just wants the free money from all the fish around him.
Yeah, I mean, he's playing with David Jones, Rick Deck, and Munez, so
I don't know, man. One of these guys has to be the best, right?
yeah.
Like one of these guys is looking at the other guys and saying, "Come on, guys, I'll play you guys all day."
Well, I think everyone of them must be thinking that.
I would guess everyone. A lot of guys are thinking I'll play everyone, other than Linus and Davey, for example, or maybe other than Linus, Davey, and Kevin. I've
Is
heard
that actually
Kevin's
Owen in
been doing-
chat? He said, "I'm just bum hunting Davey."
Yeah, I mean he's playing him heads up. He's playing him four-handed. He's shoving the king 3 into him.
Goated.
And how's Davey doing in the challenge?
Let me see.
Yeah, Davey's not up that much.
Where did you see?
It says Davey's up 26.5K on the leaderboard. I don't know if you have something more current.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think he hasn't maybe played as much. Yeah, when they post the leaderboard on Instagram daily, I don't think they include anyone past top 20. Was he in top 20?
Yes.
Okay, let's see then. Let's see first top 10. Okay, no, this is not bringing up the rest.
Is this more updated than what I'm looking at?
Oh, no, there it is. Okay. So 7 hours ago, this was refreshed. And
Yeah.
Davy Jones was 14th with 26K profits. I don't know if this is EVO profit actually, but
How much did Prodigy and Kevin and Rigged have?
like 300,000. So yeah,
Okay.
26K not quite gonna cut it, but he has 11,000 hands, so decent volume.
Yeah, crazy enough, he's making $2 a hand, right? So not too bad.
That's almost that's what I made in Vegas last time.
$2 a hand is good. I think anything over $1 a hand is decent for online.
Yeah, Prodigy actually. So 7 hours ago again.
Prodigy's making $1,000 a hand.
Yeah,
Bum hunting Davey.
it's quite close in the top 3. It's only after that there is a drop off. But yeah, so 7 hours ago when it was updated, Prodigy had 333K, Rigged 317, and then Kevin 288. And I mean, considering the swings we've seen, like this is really not that big a gap. Like it could be closed very quickly.
Yeah, and Kevin's not playing right now, right?
Yeah, he played. I mean, he did really well earlier in the VIP game, but that doesn't count. I'm not sure how he did in the regular ring game. Oh, he's actually. Did he just sit? He's right there. He just sat. Speak of the devil.
Yeah, so, is Linus sitting? No, right?
No, Linus. He was supposed to play in the VIP game, but he canceled last minute, so maybe he had something else to do.
Yeah, but I mean, so something you could do is rather. I don't know. I'm just throwing ideas out there, maybe for next time. But like, rather than have it be like a winner take all. Top 6 go to like a final table. Maybe some advantage based on how much you won, because it feels like it's a bit of a volume grind, right? Like there's something a bit. Do we care about the win rate or the dollar amount, or like what makes you win when Kevin plays like 1.5 times as many hands as Owen?
Yeah, but then what will be the big deal about playing some sort of like final table, because they can just play with one another anyway, right?
Yeah, you're right.
And then why would all the strongest players want to play together? on paper they should want to play with like the weaker players.
Yep. So yeah, how do you get around the fact that like people who grind more have a bigger chance at winning if they're good? You're just like, it's not that easy to be good and grind, and it's a real skill.
Yeah, of course. And also, it's not just about volume. Like your win rates is very important. Like you're looking at it from a standpoint where you're like, well, over a long period of time,
Yeah,
like
you're
it's very
saying
hard.
it's not like Kevin is farming all the fish, right? He's playing a fairly tough lineup here.
Yeah, exactly. Like yeah, I think like the point you're looking at it from is like very valid, where you're thinking win rate cannot trump volume. I guess, right? Is the way you're thinking about it?
I'm saying kind of. Yeah, there's something about the challenge. It's a question of what you're trying to measure. You could say only first 30k hands count, for example, right? And after you've played 30k hands, you're done.
Yeah, I guess. But then
But
some people like complete their 30k hands early, then they're just like on the sidelines. I mean, it's nice to have more action, right? Because like the tables, they're not even necessarily running at all hours in the day, even though they're running a lot.
yeah,
There's maybe for sure some tweaks here and there that can be made to like optimize even more. And like you talk about the winner getting everything also, maybe adding some prizes for like the other players.
I don't think anyone cares about the prize. I think this is just the glory for
Yeah.
these guys.
Did
Because
you?
you're up 300k, you have a 50k first prize, right? Like, who cares?
Well, it's still, I mean, it's decent.
I mean, they care, but
Yeah.
it's a 10k buy-in or a 20k buy-in. It's not the. I think this is about the glory for most of these guys, if I had to guess.
Did you hear when Chile went on the call?
No.
He's from Argentina, and he said, like, I don't care about the Rolex. I will wear it 30 minutes in Argentina maximum. Owen says, I would like a volume cap so I can take rest days without feeling guilty.
Yeah, that's a good point. Weston is saying if you say play less hands, people can table select the lineups.
Yeah.
You're like the guy who's playing every lineup. The guy who's playing tired, the guy who's saying, fuck everyone. Yeah, okay, I'll take it.
Let's have a look at this hand here. Blind on blind violence, Kevin limps. Davey 3.5, Kevin 14. Call. 6, 8 jack. 2 spades.
Yeah. Half pot.
Half. And re-raise.
Yeah, so these guys, if you think about the spots they're putting each other in, right? Like how much you need to know. You need to know how to respond to a limp. What's the limp 3-bet range? And then here Kevin has to be like, well, how do I respond to a raise? What do I ship as a bluff? What do I go for value? What do I slow play? It's a lot of things to process, right? Like it's a lot of knowledge to have. Yeah, let's see the showdown if there's anything interesting. They stack off, I assume.
Yeah.
So he shoves, Davey calls. He has kings and yeah. I hate it's just very standard, I feel like. Like you're gonna fast play your kings, queens, ace jack.
Is kings here like your range in the small blind? If you play limping strategy, is it always limp raise?
No, it's mixed. So all your hands are mixed between raising and limping all the top of the range. There's no this isn't like PLO where kings is a bad hand. Kings is super premium, so you can't have it only in one range.
And if you mix, there's like a lot of different frequencies, or how do you break it down?
Well, so the way I think about it is that the mixing is there to stop your opponent from exploiting you. And exploit, like in practice, how is anyone going to know the frequencies you're mixing? So I always just fudge it and say like, well, like, are you going to know how much I limp kings? No, not really. So I just throw some random number and
Okay. Brandon says, I apologize for saying the R word on stream. Yeah, you should. That didn't sound like such a heartfelt apology, to be honest.
No, I think it's fine. Like among poker pros, it's a friendly term to call people a retard. Like I sometimes when I see someone in the morning in the chat, I'm like, "Hey, good morning, retard. You played a retarded hand."
It's an
Like
endearing term.
Yeah, it's someone who you're friendly with, right? Like you wouldn't. Yeah. So I wouldn't worry about it too much.
You saw this hand?
No.
So this is the heads-up table, which is higher stakes, 100, 200s. Munez 2.5
Does this
button.
count for the challenge, by the way, the heads up?
No, this is for some reason they're still playing on the VIP table. I would assume this doesn't count towards the challenge, but maybe they're just happy playing some higher stakes. So yeah, Munez opens, gets called. Kings 9-7 rainbow, check. Deuce of clubs. Rigged bets pot.
Yeah. So you always stop, you ask yourself, what's the weakest hand you do this with, right?
Yeah.
And then it's like somewhere around King 8, presumably King 8, King 10, who knows? Not King 3.
But what about like 10-8 or like this sort of draws?
Yeah, I mean draws are going to be in there, but the important thing is to recognize the value threshold. So when you're in position, you kind of know which hands are close, right? Like if you know he's doing this with King 8, King 10, King Jack, you know, like you snap call any king and a 7 or a 9 is going to be close. If you think he's doing it with Ace 9 plus, maybe a 9 is going to be close, or maybe you call 9s. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Sorry, I have a phone call.
Okay, no worries.
Anyone?
Yeah, I'll bring this back up when Uri's back. I will save that word for Owen only. Come sit. The call out.
Okay, I'm back, but I have to go fairly soon.
Okay.
So he pots the turn, then he goes this on the river, and then presumably I'd guess like a King 10 plus, and then like easy to see bluffs, and then this is the part where it gets crazy, right?
Yeah.
Because now you have to think. Munez went all in, right? Or did he just 4x?
No, he re-raised because they're still deeper.
Yeah. So what's Munez saying? Is he saying like what's the threshold for him for value? Is so important to understand to play these spots. Like, can he do this with Queen 9?
Probably, I would guess.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. So do we know what rigged had? Or what Munez had?
So rigged, folded, and Munez at queens.
Queen. Boring.
Yeah, that doesn't tell us about his threshold because this is obviously pretty high.
Yeah. Boring. But we've seen Munez throw in some bluffs.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
He's got the respect at this point.
Yeah, that King 10 earlier was very interesting on like a low board.
King 10 and the Queen Jack, where he ripped 4x pot.
Yeah. The King 10 was like a super low board, I think. And then he just had like, it was the one where you said it would be better if he had no spade, I think. Maybe.
Yeah.
And like, so like this, I look at this hand and I'm like, yeah, this is a give up on the flop for me. But this guy just jams the river with it. You know? Like, it's a different game.
Yeah.
I would actually add the table's gonna go down like precisely at midnight. I think supposedly they're meant to. But will they
Are
actually?
they finishing soon, you're saying?
Sorry?
When are they supposed to finish? In like an hour and a half?
Yeah, at midnight. I wonder if it's like a manual thing that might happen a little bit later. Or will it actually? And also, like, if you're a player in those games and you feel like playing more, do you stay till the last second? It's like, you know, when you play sometimes and you get the notification, maintenance is coming. It's like, do you sit out before? Or like, do you play till the very last second like a DJ?
It depends if you believe in the maintenance curse. Because you know, if you stay for the last hand and you get stacked, what are you gonna do till the maintenance is over?
Wait,
Like,
what is
you
that? Is that
you
actually a
just
thing?
feel like shit.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's the main. There's a whole maintenance strat thing in poker.
What?
Everyone gets super nitty near maintenance, and you can bluff your pants off when you're near maintenance.
Are you
Everyone
trolling
folds.
or this is real?
I'm probably trolling.
Okay. I was like-
Probably trolling. I apologize for the monotonous voice. It's just the sore throat.
It's all good. Always a pleasure to have you.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you, and thanks for having me. And yeah, just post the updates as we wrap up. Today's the last day, right? Till the break.
Yes, the break will be from tonight midnight for a whole week. And yeah, if you have any shout outs, go ahead.
I mean, I loved a lot of the hands. I loved Munez's hands. I will not comment on Owen's hands, but yeah, Owen's obviously really good. And I think Sammy and Rigged going after each other was interesting to see for sure. Yeah, lots of interesting spots. It's a shame, you know. In theory, I'd love to just go through all the hands one by one because there's so much interesting stuff going on.
But there's only so much time in the day.
Yeah, really fun to watch these guys though.
All right, thank you, Uri.
Yeah, thanks, man. Bye.
Have a good night. Take care. Always a pleasure to have Uri on. Make sure to give him a follow. Uri Peleg Poker on X, and he's got multiple courses on Upswing as well. Very informative. I'll check if anyone wants to join. This is an hour and a half left. I guess Owen probably doesn't want to do the call since he's playing. And we got Kevin in the mix now. Trying to put in a bit more volume before the break. Put some music. Where's Lama today? I think a lot of us got used of hearing from Lama every day. So if we ever don't hear from him, it feels abnormal. There's some good ideas to be had, I think, about what Uri brought up, like how to improve the challenge. Maybe what to do for the next one if there is another one, which I would surely hope so. As this has been a lot of fun. A live game is an idea, but obviously people are like kind of scattered everywhere around the world, so not so easy to make happen. I wonder what players would think about full show tables. So tables where if somebody folds before, you know, the river, it not only shows the winning hand, but also whoever's hand folded, what it is. That's where you kind of fix the fact that there is no whole cards. Because you can always go back and watch the hand and know immediately, and it also allows people to stream without delay. Prodigy with the re-raise. those late position hands, blind on blinds or like blind against button, they get crazy very quickly in those games. The ranges are so wide. There we go. 66% will get a fold. Need to have someone review the biggest hands of the day and upload to YouTube. Easier to digest for people and can get them excited about the event. Yeah, I think initially something like this was gonna be done, but the thing about content like this is that it takes a lot of time to actually make with the voiceover and everything. So it's supremely hard to make that happen in terms of how realistic it is. But maybe, yeah, with a slightly different flow. I don't know exactly, like, I'm not the one dealing with any of that. Like, sometimes if I get asked to do voiceover, I do it. But then obviously, I'm streaming a lot of hours in the day. Like yesterday, I did almost 8 hours. And then today, I made sure to be up to be able to do like the last hours here before we go on break. So, but that's a good suggestion for sure. I think doing giveaways also would be very nice for viewers and drive engagement. And I've tried to push for that to happen, so I think that'd be really cool if giveaways were properly added. Some big action here. Munez and Davy Jones. Kind of small bet on the river. Is that like a bit less than 30%? And we get a call. King 10 against the ace king. So that was 3-bet by Munez, called by Davy Jones on the button. Small bets call, king on the turn. Still bets very small actually. Call, queen on the river. This goes small again. Davy trying to bluff catch. Sometimes when you get such a good price, it's too good to be true. More frequent standing updates would be awesome for next time. Give the leader a gold crown on the avatar. Silver crown for number 2, etc. And give the winner a championship belt. Oh, you mean at the tables? I'm gonna take a screenshot of what you guys are saying because these are good suggestions. Call it feedback. I'll send it to Coin later. Yeah, championship belt is actually really nice because, like, I mean, the watch obviously it's pretty sick. It's a Rolex, you know, it's 50K, but I think you know, it's not like a proper trophy, right? Like a cup or a medal or like a, you know, a trophy, like a figurine of sorts. You know, in poker, the trophy often is like some sort of like cards or small little thing that you will put, like, you know, in a live tournament, they will put the final hand that you won the tournament with. So I think something like that is a great idea. The championship belt, UFC style. Updates on standings is really not where it should be, in my opinion. What do you mean? You mean not frequent enough? Like how often would you want updates? I mean, ideally, if there was something where you could see in real time, that'd be the dream. But that's probably very hard to make happen in comparison with just updating daily. Oh, the deuce. Saved. Freaking wrestling / boxing championship belt would be awesome. Yeah, that'd be cool. So Munez opens, 3-bet from Kevin in the big blind, 4-bets from Munez. Kevin calls, 6 queen deuce. We see the small bets. Yeah, so that's quarter pots. Call, 5 of clubs. And now Kevin, is that a jam? He just jammed. What a sick hand. So he called the 4 bets. First of all, he 3-bets 6-5 suited, then he called the 4 bets. And he led out after calling the 4-bet. And if you have kings here, I mean, you're obviously not going anywhere. It's really about, I guess, do you want to raise or do you want to call? Munez just calls, and then the brutal turn. Yeah, this is... Munez did get saved. He got the deuce here on the river. The Rolly's perfect trophy, in my opinion. I don't know. I don't feel like a watch is like... It's not the same as a trophy. And like a trophy doesn't have to be expensive. Like it's just the meaningfulness of it. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not used of stuff like watches being trophies because I come from a video game background, and then you just often had like, you know, old school trophies, like some sort of cup, something like that. A video game figurine. Not a little bracelet like the two only donks have. Yeah, I think a belt sounds kind of cool. I think people just like trophies when they win something because it's just a great way to have like a memory, you know, it's like a token of what you achieved and like what happened. And I think it's very cool for the winner to have something like that to actually like have at home in like a trophy case or actually display. Every time you look at it, it brings back that memory of like you succeeding in something. Whereas like, I don't think a watch qualifies in that way. I mean, first of all, I mean, unless somebody's gonna wear it all the time. But even then, I feel like a watch is much more likely to just be stashed somewhere in a drawer and like not be worn necessarily often. Don't get me wrong, I think getting a Rolex is like an amazing prize, especially like a 50k Rolex. I'm saying, I think adding some sort of token of having won the championship on the side would be really cool. What in the world is going on here? Did he? Okay, this is like a huge overbet. He's saying he has a 4. And then we've seen Kevin take his time and usually pick off this type of spots very, very well. Does that mean that if he calls here, he wins and he picks off a bluff? And that if he folds, we see a 4. He calls. And, well, he was... Okay, no, he had the straight. Oh my god, this is sick. So this is an open big blind defense. Davy Jones just flops the nuts casually. And he does the no limit 50 special here. He waits until the river. That's the same hand as like I showed earlier. This is so freaking sick too, because Kevin just rivers the lower straight. And then now he bets very small. And Kevin is like, well, I got it straight. Like, not raising would be criminal. So he re-raises. And then Davy Jones just jams. And this is why I fold every river, guys. Go ahead, overbluff me, I don't care. Graphs would be really nice. Best friend / enemy, also cool to see how money has moved. Yeah, that's also a very good suggestion, I think. Monotone boards. The Wild West. Half pot on the river. I asked Barack if he wanted to join the call. I see that he's online now. Weird. Maybe he had like a short flight or... We have an hour and 13 minutes left before the challenge goes on break. You know, it's interesting. We were talking previously many times about like YouTube content and what to watch to improve. And I feel like a lot of these VODs here daily with those super high level players breaking down hands is really, really good content, I think, for anyone to go back and watch and like learn from their thought process, how they talk about hands, how they think about hands. There is a lot to be learned in there. Although I would say a lot of it is like so advanced that unless you have a certain level, it's kind of hard to properly grasp everything. At least for me, it was like that. Yeah, I won in the giveaway, but still didn't receive it. What giveaway do you speak of, sir? Because I was not aware we had one. I think your best bet is just going to be to email support and you should be getting a reply. Yeah, the content during the streams in this challenge has been amazing. Yeah. I think it's something that like, I personally, like when I was asked to commentate this, I knew there was going to be like, you know, some guests and stuff sometimes, but I didn't think so many high level and high stakes players were going to be actually down to come in calls and really like properly break down hands. So that's been pleasantly surprising. Interesting run out. Ace 9935. Get a check from Prodigy. And Rick bets 75%. Goes for the bluff with a busted flush draw. Prodigy was ready to snap it off. Couldn't call Eddie quicker. I guess this was 3 bets. Yeah. 3 bet pots, small bet call. Rick turns the diamonds and checks back. And then on the river, it's check to him, and he probably thinks, yeah, like, unless I bet this, I'm never gonna win. Talk a little about more who the players are would be nice too. I'm in the US, so kind of out of touch of the high stakes online guys. I think we did that with nearly almost every one of those guys when they came on for the first time, usually. Yeah, I think I always made sure to like, because I also didn't know a lot of these guys. So I kind of asked them a whole bunch of stuff about even how they came up in poker and stuff. I mean, maybe not necessarily for everyone, but I think for most of those guys that came on, if you go back and watch the VODs. But obviously we cannot do that every day, otherwise that'd be, you know, like if let's say Uri or Owen aka Prodigy, who was there earlier in the call, I can't ask them again to go back over the stuff that we talked about previously. See and Grind, I'm not sure. Like, I have absolutely nothing to do with the giveaway, my dudes. The best advice I can give you is to get in touch with Coin Poker, whether it's through social media or email, and then have some patience. A pot size bet here by Munez on the river. We got some non-believers out there. King 4 with the correct call by Owen. So that was blind on blind. Munez check calls half on your half. Checks down to the river and he ends up leading out pots on a jack river. And Prodigy says, I do not believe you, sir. Did Berkey win at the stream game? I couldn't say. Because I feel like he was up at first, then he lost some, and then at the end he won, I think he won quite literally the last spot that was played with kings. So I'm not sure. I don't think results are posted for that one. The hard stuff is already in place. The best players, super content, fun characters, great commentators, show tables. It is just some work on the packaging left next time, and that is the easy stuff. I don't know about easy stuff, like all of it. So like, what do you mean exactly? Like updating the leaderboards more and stuff? I actually have no idea what goes into that. So in my mind, anything I don't know about, those sound kind of complicated. Because I don't know the process at all. I feel like maybe somebody gets like some sort of sheet with all the numbers, and then they have to make a graphic that makes it look presentable to then post on social media. Like in terms of like a live leaderboard that updates more often, that might be very complicated to make something like that. Another jam. Stacks flying in left and right. And we get a call. Set over set. Ay, ay, ay. Brutal. So that was open. 3 bets in the big blinds. And smooth call. By Mr. Prodigy. And yeah, I guess, I mean, I'm still in my mind, he's like the re-raise. He's the one that re-raise because he has ace, but he flops top set. Davy Jones leads out. I mean, this is probably like a range bet. Prodigy calls, 10 of spades on the turn, check, check. 9 on the river, that's the bad news for Davy Jones. He bets a bit more than quarter pot and gets jammed on. Are these guys like the hardcore guys in the challenge? Because they're the ones putting in the last few repetitions here. During the last few hours, they're in there battling with one another in a very tough lineup. Okay, about half bots. By Prodigy. Yeah, I'm glad you guys are giving feedback in the chats. I will definitely pass it on to Coin Poker. Some of this stuff I think will make the challenge even better. It's a first time thing, and I think it was put in place, from my understanding, fairly quickly. So I definitely feel like a lot of things about it were done very well, given that. But that's the thing about most things in life. You can always improve everything, whether it's, you know, playing poker or, in this case, hosting a world championship. Ay, ay, ay. Owen making a lot of hands here. The Prodigy. So Munez opens blind on blind. Prodigy defense. Jack 9-3. It gets checked to him. He bets. The bottom pair gets raised. And he re-raises again. What's crazy is that very often before when it happened, the stacks ended up flying in. And it's similar to the hand earlier, right? Free on the turn. This is a wild hand. And Munez did fold. Owen with his favorite hand, King 3 off. Yeah, like I'm I'm gonna send this to Uri. He needs to see this. Here we go, the two leaders potentially tangling in a pot here. Two of the top three, as Prodigy, at least in the latest update, was rank 1 and Kevin rank 3 in the leaderboard. And 4-3 rainbow. And this is the last hour, guys, of the challenge right now before the break, which will last a week. Right now, I believe that after we return... Oh, mid-click, by the way. I believe that after we return from the break, the challenge will go on for an extra week. But that could change. I'm not sure how set in stone it is. What is going on in those hands? So it's open. Kevin on the button, 3-bet small blind, 4-bet. And then on 10-3-4, Kevin bets quarter, gets check raised, and he jams. There's a fold. And unfortunately, that's not the show table. This is why tables without show should be illegal. They should be outlawed from this challenge. And completely discarded for the rest of time. Unbelievable. Owen peeled the 4-bet with king 3 off. This time he wasn't feeling the 3 on the... Wait, we can't... Oh my god! No. I went rabbit hunting and it would have been a 3 on the turn, guys. Owen, you fucked up, my guy. What is going on with the king 3, guys? It just wins on every board. Looks like another 4-bet pot here. And it's... Is that heads up? I don't know if David Jones was already sitting out. Okay, he's back. $5K in the pot. 8-5-4. 2 spade. Checks around. 9 of clubs on the turn. Isn't that a board that after a 4-bet you would bet very often? Do these guys even have like any proper give up? Like when Kevin 4-bets here, does he have any proper give up that just, yeah, like ends up check folding the rest of the hand? Almost feels like not with the level of aggression they always have, but I couldn't tell. So he checks down to the river, 4 of hearts. This is the part where somebody usually ends up betting. Then stacks sometimes even maybe flying. Ace-4 suited. Anyone? And there it is! This is so sick. Friends of mine playing live, that play live a lot and they're very good, they once broke it down this way. If a weak player is trying to mess with you and playing a spot like this, usually he's weak. But if a regular is trying to screw with you, or like a good player and he does this sort of line, often he has it. But obviously, yeah, this is what this made me think of, but I assume it's not like that at all here, and those guys think on a completely different level. And we see a call. See how he plays his aces? This is what I'm talking about. He just checks down with ace. This is sick, by the way. I can't believe this didn't go in pre. My. So 2.4x open, 12 bigs in the big blind by Kevin, 2.5k. So yeah, 25 bigs by Prodigy. And Kevin just calls. they check down on a pretty low run out. It's so weird. Like, if you have ace king here, like, this makes, to my limited theory, like, that guy that barely knows anything, I just feel like it's so unlikely that a hand will play like this. But you guys can tell me what you think. Like, is this a line that you think you would see often with an overpair? Or even at like a decent frequency? Oh, by the way, one of the tables broke now. It seems like there is only 2 players left standing, which are Prodigy and Davy Jones. What do you guys think of this line? Say you have ace king here. And you 4-bet against the big blinds. You get called, and this is the run out, and it checks down. And then suddenly on the river, villain is jamming 8,000 into 5,000. Let's say 80 big blinds into 50 big blinds, and you cover. What are you even thinking here? You 4-bet. I mean, this is a kind of a... I guess there is some hands that like Kevin's gonna call that also, like, this is somewhat of a scary run out as well. So it's like kind of wild that he just kind of checks down. I have no idea what to think of this. You know what? I'm gonna check some ranges, because now I'm very curious. Like, what's the range in the big blind that calls 4-bet from the button? That's already a very good question. Kevin stacked Owen the last hand before Davey sat out, so it counts for the challenge. Yeah. How much did you improve as a player the last 3 weeks, Todd? I would say a fair amount, but it also really much motivated me to like study more and get better. But, you know, I don't feel like I'm 1,000 times better, because so much of what this guy says is like so advanced. It's actually quite hard to really be able to comprehend everything. Like, obviously I wasn't completely new to poker going into this, but like once they start talking like super in-depth about ranges, merge, and all that stuff, like it's, yeah, it starts being a little much for my little brain. Okay, I'm gonna look up now. So button opens big blind 3-bets. And button 4-bets. The big blind calling range actually doesn't have that many hands from what I can see. I mean, I'm looking for like, might be a different game, but like the jams would be jacks, queens, kings, ace king, any ace king. 5-bet aces, a bit of ace queen suited. What concepts did you learn? A lot, honestly. Like, it's hard to like even recount everything, but just, I would say my main takeaway is probably the way players are so good at thinking about hands in terms of ranges and seeing the big picture. I think they do such a good job of that, and that's because all of them, they're well studied, or like some of the guys that came on the call as well. They understand so many concepts, and their understanding of the ranges is just really on another level, I think. So yeah, some of the calls actually from big blind will be like 4-5 suited, 6-5 suited, through to 10-9 suited. But I guess maybe some of the hands that miss on this board that are calls is like ace queen off, jack 10 suited, king 10 suited, ace jack suited. And aces actually mix in the big blinds. So Kevin, He might have rolled it. And yeah, he just went for the call here instead of... I mean, it's just a bit weird, I guess, to 5 bets with the sizings they had. But to actually check down the whole way and then jam... Like, it's just... yeah. For me, if someone does that, like, obviously it's like a spot where he just like has a big pair a lot. And he has those bluffs will be like random 2 broadways that didn't connect at all. What a 6 spots. And it looks like the action ended. I'll ask Owen if he wants to hop on to maybe talk about some of these hands. The big question is what I'm going to do during the holidays with no Johan streams to watch. Count Poker is working on putting out extra content around the challenge. So there'll definitely be some of that. And yeah. I'm not sure. Maybe they'll have a couple surprises. Like do some sort of different stream. I don't know if there's a VIP game then next Sunday. If there is, I could stream that as well. Definitely. I'm always down to stream. I'm checking with Owen if he'd be down to come on the call and talk about some hands. I think that'd be interesting. But maybe... I mean, to be honest, he won a lot of big hands, but I guess maybe the end was a bit unsatisfying of the session. So obviously, it's really up to him. But this was... Like, this is the type of hand I look at and I'm like, yeah, this gives me... Almost gives me like anxiety just watching because I'm putting myself in the shoes of Prodigy here. And I can't put Kevin on there. I mean, obviously, probably I just... I'm not good enough to make a call with Ace-High, I would say. It's probably why doing this play would be very good against me. Yeah, I asked Owen, I'll stick around a bit longer. Let me see if maybe there's some other bigger hands that we somehow missed that we can now have a look at. What was some of the biggest hands? King Jack against King Queen. Did we see this one? I don't think we saw this one. So that was an open, a 3-bet. And then called by Prodigy. Bet half, king on the turn. Yeah, now he has top 2, so he bets. And he finds the jam on the river, actually. Davy Jones ends up calling. Some of Kevin's most likely value going to be aces there because pre-trap double check makes sense. So ace king seems really reasonable hero call to me. Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense too. Because you block the aces. I guess it becomes like, yeah, do you expect him to be bluffing enough in that spot that you end up calling with this? But if we've seen anything, is that like those guys at the top of the leaderboard currently, they're definitely bluffing enough. Sometimes even more than enough, too. Rigged folded with not so much behind. Yeah, that hand was also super interesting, I thought. Yeah, they can bluff, so sometimes you gotta call sick game. Well, that's the perfect summary, yeah. I really liked yesterday too with Absolute Top Up saying every time that they put him on a draw. I don't think we saw this one, probably. That was open in the cutoff. Small blind 3 bets for rigged. And 4 bet from Peter Knopp. Small bet on Jack 10-9. Call. 4 of clubs blank. Again, small bet. Call. 6 of clubs, pretty much blank, I guess. And rigged jams it. Gets called by worse. Yeah, this is like something for somebody not studied like myself. It does feel like calling with King 10 suited, at least like wild, but you know, every time I see this type of hand, initially my reaction is the same, like holy shit, he has King 10, but then it's like you go more into it and it's like, yeah, actually this makes perfect sense as a call. So at this point, I shouldn't even be surprised anymore. It's like he blocks the nuts. The diamonds didn't get there. Yeah. This one we saw. Okay, that looks absolutely brutal. Munez opens cutoff. Xiao Jun 3 bets big blind call. What a flop. Sometimes poker is just easy like that. Half call. Munez like, can this get any better? Can I get the queen of clubs while you're at it? The king of clubs, yeah. Which actually would have made it worse because, as we know, Xiao Jun didn't have 2 pairs or a boat. So he bets 40% on the turn. Call. Clean runouts. It's one of those hands where both players are convinced that they are winning the whole way. Only one of them is right, and that's the guy with the nuts. This one we saw. $12K. This one I don't think we saw. Okay, last hand, guys. And then it seems like Owen's already busy, so that'll be its last hand. So this is an open in the small blinds, 3 bet in the big blinds. Peter Knopp calls. He checks on ace queen 4, 2 clubs. Munez continues for 3rd pots. Call. 8 of diamonds on the turn. Check. Checks around. Deuce of diamonds on the river. And Peter Knopp 150%. Munez ends up calling, but yeah, he runs into a better ace. That's something that personally, I don't know those ranges well, so I probably don't like 3 bets almost at all those lower offsuited aces. But yeah, that's another hand where like I'm sure if you put this in a solver, it comes out like 100% clean. Interesting, the 150% is like really polarizing on the river. You put him on a draw. Alright guys, that's gonna be it then. Let me just double check the client. Yeah, all the games are done for now. People are getting some rest, maybe a little bit earlier than the challenge would have ended tonight. But, you know, it's been a busy December with all those games. This is day 22 right now. and we go on break from the 23rd until the 29th. So we return the 30th for a week. So yeah, happy holidays, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Hope you guys had fun. We had Ori on the call. If you guys didn't catch all of this, definitely recommend going back and listening to all the great insights he had to share. And we return in a little bit over a week. Big love to Coin Poker for hosting this Cash Game World Championship. Give them a follow on all of their platforms. That's CoinPoker_TV on YouTube, CoinPoker_off on X, and CoinPoker on Instagram. So you guys can get all the updates as well in terms of leaderboards and news around the challenge. Much love, everybody. Happy holidays, and see you in a little